is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. A 9-year-old girl abducted and sexually assaulted. Police report a murder and multiple shootings over the weekend. A CDAR rep says the new bill on violence fails to address human rights standards. And BPL CEO says it's too risky to run all their Wärtsilä engines at once. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Of the start of a new way. You know that it starts the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Monday, July 31st, 2023. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Also this morning, we're going to be talking with the Electrical Workers Union president about the issues that made headlines this week at BPL, but especially about industrial issues, conditions for members of his union this morning. And later in business, we're talking with Alive, getting an update on their fiber rollout and their August offers. A whole lot to talk to them about. That's all ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, a 9-year-old girl and a 40-year-old woman sexually assaulted in separate incidents here in New Providence over the weekend. The girl was playing with friends on Saturday afternoon on the outside of her Lazaretto Road home when a man in a white Nissan Skyline beckoned to her to get inside the vehicle. According to information given by the police, the girl complied and was taken to an unknown location where she was threatened and sexually assaulted. Police say that she was found a short time later in the Spikenard Road area. The incident reported to have happened shortly after 6 p.m. Police reminding parents to make sure children know not to talk to strangers when they're alone or in a vulnerable. The other matter reported to have occurred around 3 a.m. on Saturday. Police say the incident happened at a woman's Golden Isles Road residence after a night of socializing at a bar with those. The latest incident coming amid significant concerns over the high level of sex crimes in New Providence. Last month, Minister of National Security Wayne Monroe reported that while overall crime was down 30% in the first 5 months of 2023 compared to the same period last year, rape reports were up in New Providence. Such reports were up by 64%. Meanwhile, human rights expert Marion Bethel says that the Protection of Violence Bill 2023, which MPs passed on Thursday, fails to support an internationally accepted human rights approach to the critical issue of gender-based violence. She's adding that the legislation is far less comprehensive in addressing the issue of gender-based violence. And then the gender-based violence bill of 2016, which human rights advocates had painstakingly worked on. Bethel, who was the vice chairperson and rapporteur for the United Nations Committee on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, or CEDAW, was asked yesterday to speak to why she and other human rights advocates objected to the Prevention of Violence bill being passed in the House, outlining the differences between that 26-page bill and the 72-page gender-based violence bill, which did not make it to Parliament. She said that one is soundly human rights-based. In other crime news, a 33-year-old man is dead and a 23-year-old man in the hospital after shooting on Peter Street, west of East Street. This happened around 10:30 a.m. yesterday. The younger man was standing on the outside of a residence on Peter Street when he was approached by a man dressed in dark-colored clothing who emerged from a nearby track road. The culprit shot the 23-year-old in the thigh. He then fled the area onto a nearby track road where he encountered two men and shot at them. One of the men was unharmed. However, the second man, a 33-year-old, he was shot to the upper body, and both victims were taken to the hospital where the 23-year-old died. Police say that the other man, the 33-year-old died. The other man, 23, was in the hospital after he was shot on Friday. Around 11 p.m., a man along with a friend were standing in front of the home on Wilson Track when they were approached by an unknown male who shot at them, resulting in the 23-year-old being shot to the leg. The suspect fled on foot in an unknown direction. The victim was taken to the hospital in a private vehicle, said to be in stable condition now. And police also reported a 20-year-old Nassau Village resident was hospitalized in stable condition Friday after he was shot in a separate incident. Police say that after 11 a.m., the man was with two other men standing on the outside of a business on Alexandria Boulevard in Nassau Village when two masked gunmen dressed in dark clothing emerged from nearby track road. The gunmen shot at the 20-year-old, hitting him multiple times. The assailants fled in the northern direction on Taylor Street. In yet another matter, a 29-year-old man of Cottonwood Street in Pinewood Gardens was in hospital after he was shot around 10:30 p.m. on Wednesday outside his residence off Thatch Palm Avenue. That man was sitting in his Honda when he was approached by two men he didn't know, one of whom shot him multiple times. Police also reporting a shooting on Grand Bahama. That happened on Wednesday. A 22-year-old of Trotter Avenue was shot shortly before 10 p.m. Police say the man and a friend were on the outside of a business on Polaris Drive when the 22-year-old was shot in both legs by a man that he knows. He's listed in stable condition in the hospital. A man accused of two separate fatal shootings remanded to prison on murder charges. Leonard O'Brien is accused of the murders of Dario McPhee and Brian Smith, which occurred in April and May, respectively. McPhee was ambushed and shot by a gunman on April 10th while he cleaned fish on a boat at the back of the Sand Trap on West Bay Street. Smith was sitting on a wall on Hospital Lane on May 26th when two armed men shot him dead. O'Brien was not required to enter pleas to the murder charges when he appeared before Acting Chief Magistrate Roberto Reckley. He was denied bail as the magistrate lacks the jurisdiction to consider bail for the offense. However, O'Brien can apply for bail in the Supreme Court. His cases were adjourned to October 5th for the presentation of a voluntary bill of indictment. And an American woman and two Bahamian men denied bail after being charged with conspiring to kill her husband. Prosecutors say Lindsay Shiver of Thomasville, Georgia, Terrence Bethel, and Ferran Newbold Jr., both of Abaco, hatched a plan to kill insurance company executive Robert Shiver on July 16th. Investigators allegedly learned of the plan while investigating another crime on Guana Key. Police officers arrested the suspects in Abaco on July 21st, and they made their first court appearance before Acting Chief Magistrate Roberto Reckley on Friday. The accused were not required to enter a plea to the charge, and they were denied bail. They're expected to return to court on October 31st to receive a voluntary bill of indictment. And although BPL's Wärtsilä engines are supposedly the most efficient in BPL's fleet, We're being told now it's too risky to run all 7 of those engines at once due to the structural integrity of the Clifton Pier building where the engines are housed. CEO Siobhan Cambridge confirming this yesterday, Cambridge making the statement when asked to explain what Prime Minister Philip Davis meant when he told the House last Wednesday that the engines were constructed in a dilapidated building and that they can't run for fear that the building would collapse. The CEO said that was a reference to the risk of running all the engines at one time. He says the engines were run for the purpose of accepting them. They were run individually to show that they can run, and there's been 1 or 2 occasions where they attempted to run all 7, but the vibration that they caused exacerbated an existing problem with the structure that they're in. Overseas, thousands of people backing the coup in Niger marching through the streets of the capital denouncing France, the country's former colonial power. They were also waving Russian flags and setting a door at the French embassy ablaze before the army broke up the crowd. Demonstrators in Niger are openly resentful of France, and Russia is seen by some as a powerful alternative. The nature of Russia's involvement in the rallies, if any, isn't clear, but some protesters have carried Russian flags, along with signs reading, quote, "Down with France," and supporting Russian President Vladimir Putin. The Russian mercenary group Wagner is operating in neighboring Mali, and under Putin, Russia has expanded its influence in West Africa. The new junta's leaders have not said whether they intend to ally themselves with Moscow or to stick with Niger's Western partners. French President Emmanuel Macron said Sunday that attacks on France and its interests would not be tolerated by anyone who attacks French citizens, and that anyone who attacks them will see an immediate response. Niger, a French colony until 1960, has been seen as the West's last reliable partner battling jihadists in Africa's Sahel region. France has 1,500 soldiers in the country who conduct joint operations with Nigerians. The United States and other European countries have helped train the nation's troops. In sports, the Bahamas' men's and women's senior and national volleyball teams falling out of the medal picture, wrapping up play at the 18th Caribbean Zonal Volleyball Association Senior Championships in Suriname. The men lost their semifinal contest to Barbados on Friday and then fell to Trinidad and Tobago in the bronze medal match on Saturday, ending the competition in 4th. On Friday, they lost 25-23, 25-16, 23-25, and 25-22. Just like they did most of the tournament, Kyle Wilson led the way for the Bahamas. He had 21 points, 20 on kills, and 1 block. Sha'Nari Hepburn was the next highest scorer for the Bahamas with 11 points, 8 kills, 2 service winners, and a block. Byron Ferguson contributed 10 points, 9 kills, and a block. From swimming, all 4 Bahamian swimmers in the pool as the Bahamas wrapped up competition of the World Aquatic Championships in Japan over the weekend. The meet ended yesterday, but the Bahamas' participation was done by Saturday. The quartet of Renishka Gibbs, Zaylee Elizabeth Thompson, Devontae Carey, and Lamar Taylor swimming in the 4x100 meters mixed freestyle relay, ending the competition. They finished with a national time of 3:43.19, which was lower than their entry time of 3:47.16. They placed 5th in Heat 3 and 27th out of 43 countries. And the Bahamas' senior women's national tennis team went into the final day of the Billie Jean King Cup America's Group 2 tournament, needing a win over the host country of Dominican Republic to stay in Group 2 for 2024. In the end, the host country earned that privilege after taking care of the Bahamas in 2 straight matches. The loss means that the Bahamas has been relegated to the America's Cup America's Group 3 for 2024. Read more on these stories in today's Guardian Sports section. That's sports. And that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your first look at weather brought to you by Nescafe Coffee. Here's what's happening. We've got high pressure. High pressure ridge remains draped across the Bahamas, supporting high temperatures and a light to moderate breeze, while an upper level low, along with a surface trough, generates shower activity over the area. Boaters are to be alert for waterspout activity, and everybody's again being reminded to stay hydrated and avoid prolonged sun exposure due to triple-digit heat indices again today. For all areas, we're expecting variably cloudy, hot, and humid conditions with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, becoming fair and warm with isolated showers and thunderstorms mainly in the northwest Bahamas tonight. Gusty winds and higher seas expected during showers and thunderstorms. Wind southeast to south at 10 knots or less, falling light and variable at times in the northwest and central Bahamas, and east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots in the southeastern islands. Seas 1 to 3 feet in the northwest and central Bahamas and 2 to 4 feet in the southeastern islands. Seas higher along Atlantic exposures. Temperature-wise, today we're looking at another very hot day. Highs getting up to around 93 Fahrenheit, 34 Celsius. But of course, it's going to feel a whole lot hotter than that. The heat index up to 106 Fahrenheit, 41 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. It is currently about 83, 84 degrees in Nassau under mostly cloudy skies right now. That is your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and a look at the tropics coming up later after traffic. But this first look at weather brought to you by Nescafe Coffee. Elevate your coffee experience with Nescafe Gold.
Wake up, it's a new day.
You are listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
There's a new electric vehicle in town, the Jack brand of SUVs, trucks, sedans, and commercial vans, available only at Easy Car Sales, home of the fully electric vehicle. For a powerful, smooth ride at a fraction of the cost to drive, leave the pump behind and hit the road with Jack. Visit easy242.com to see our brand new Jack models and drop into Easy Car Sales for a test drive. It'll have you singing. Hit the road with Jack, and don't you pump gas no more.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Don't let go of your chance to win big with Alive on 700 Wines and Spirits. We've got an exclusive promotion just for you. Purchase 3 or more refreshing Click Rattlers and pair them with our Freedom 12 plan or higher at 700 Wines and Spirits. To enter the contest, simply write your name and phone number on the front of your receipt. Then snap a photo of your receipt and WhatsApp it to 242-805-7511. This promotion ends July 31st, 2023. Terms and conditions apply. Alive. Believe in best.
The Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center is here to help small businesses throughout the entire Bahamas. To better serve you, we've made it easier to contact us. Call 461-7232, WhatsApp 359-0626 or 359-2394, email helpdesk@spdcbahamas.com, or submit a ticket when you visit our help center at accessaccelerator.org. The Access Accelerator, empowering small business.
Tired of paying too many bills and loan payments each month?
Shrink your monthly debt payments down to one easy payment with our debt consolidation loan.
It also has a built-in savings that pays you 5% interest.
Inquire about our debt consolidation loans today.
Call 356-7764.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas, Channel 969, and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line, powered by BTC, 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Again, 422-4796. All right, so coming up this morning, we're going to be talking after that interview. That interview last week has really set off a lot of things. We're talking about the interview we did with BPL CEO Siobhan Cambridge, and so much has come out of that. And right after that show, we got a call from the president of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union, Kyle Wilson. He was very angry by something he heard Siobhan Cambridge say. And based on a question we asked him, and we didn't like the response. And so now he's here to talk about that. And hopefully we'll get him to talk about some of these other crazy things. Every day it's something new out of BPL. And what in God's name is going on? So we're going to talk to Kyle Wilson about that in our 8 o'clock hour. Then later in business, we're talking with Alive. We're getting an update on their fiber rollout. Many people waiting for this for a long time. Where do things stand? We'll get some details on that coming up. So a lot to get to on this Monday, but let's begin with what else is in the news. And in the news, the big headline in the NASA Guardian, BPL CEO too risky to run all engines at once. He didn't say that at all. He said they're running fine when he was on the show. He said, right? But everything's changing now because the Prime Minister revealed some new things, and now the story keeps changing. So what is the truth? Will we ever know? What will they say tomorrow? We're going to talk about that a little bit later, especially as we get closer to our discussion with BEW President Kyle Wilson. But that is just madness. The building will collapse if they run all the engines. It's really a clown show. Okay. Another violent weekend. Police reporting multiple shootings, including a murder over the weekend. The details are in the NASA Guardian. Here we go again. But the story that is getting everybody's attention, that has everybody, angry definitely. Girl 9 abducted and sexually assaulted. Our Candy Dame's writing about it. A 9-year-old girl and a 40-year-old woman were sexually assaulted in separate incidents on New Providence over the weekend. Police say the girl was playing with friends on Saturday afternoon on the outside of her home on Lazaretto Road when a man driving a white Nissan Skyline beckoned to her to get inside the vehicle. Now, according to information given to the police, the child complied and was taken to an unknown location where she was threatened and sexually assaulted. Police say she was found a short time later in the area of Spikenard Road. That incident reported to have happened shortly after 6 p.m. on Saturday. So again, police are reminding parents to make sure their children know not to talk to strangers when they are alone or in a vulnerable position. Again, that's not victim blaming, just that, as we've discussed before, we don't seem to hear those messages as much as we used to when I was a child, right? Don't talk to strangers. Don't get into a vehicle with somebody you don't know, no matter what they say to you. Don't do that. And I don't know if that is a message children get today. But that does not discount the fact that we have a bunch of sickos walking around, driving around this country, and something has to be done. So that's that first incident. The other one also as disturbing. It happened shortly around 3 a.m. on Saturday. Police say this happened at the 40-year-old victim's Golden Isles Road home after a night of socializing at a bar with a man she knows. So again, just highlighting the challenges we're having in the country, a high level of sex crimes in New Providence. Right. So this is all happening just as controversy in the House last week with the Protection of Violence bill, and human rights experts in the country and women's rights groups up in arms over what happened with this bill versus what they had thought was going to become the bill that would be debated in the House. So human rights expert Marion Bethel is saying that the Protection of Violence Bill 2023, which MPs passed on Thursday night, fails to support an internationally accepted human rights approach to the critical issue of gender-based violence, and added that the legislation is far less comprehensive in addressing the issue than the Gender-Based Violence Bill of 2016, which human rights advocates had painstakingly worked on. Now, Bethel is a vice chairperson and rapporteur for the UN CEDAW committee. That's the Committee on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. And she was asked yesterday to speak to why she and other human rights advocates objected to the Prevention of Violence bill being passed in the House. Now, outlining the differences between that 26-page bill and the 72-page gender-based violence bill, which did not make it to Parliament, Bethel said, quote, one is soundly human rights based. Now, she says, quote, it references the various human rights conventions that have been ratified, and it anchors itself in human rights language based on human rights principles. That's a major conceptual difference. I think the conceptual differences are very significant because it can only be soundly conceptual for us to move ahead. If it's not going to make the difference. And so I'm saying 2016 has a sound conceptual human rights-based approach to gender-based violence. Secondly, the vehicle that would have been established under the 2016 bill would have given more autonomy to the commission, which is to oversee the whole administration of gender-based violence. There was to be a public-private partnership under the 2016 draft bill, which was going to have, under this partnership, the public was going to be able to contribute monies toward the authority and the commission for them to do their work. The 2023 bill places everything under the Ministry of Social Services. The minister has total power and control, and in my view, this will get bogged down in government bureaucracy, government red tape. I don't think it's an effective way to address this very, very egregious and insidious problem that we're dealing with. And so the 2016 bill sets out very clearly, coming out of this 2015 report of the National Task Force for Gender-Based Violence, they were the ones who recommended this authority in this commission. It was drafted in the bill, and it is now being revised to place everything under the Ministry of Social Services with the minister at the pinnacle. I think it's a commission that they're also establishing, but the minister still has control there. It'll be totally government funded, and I think that is not an effective way to comprehensively look at this problem and try to make it meet the needs of this Bahamian community. All right. Now, last week, Wednesday, Bethel and other women's rights advocates released a statement saying the gender-based violence bill was replaced at the last minute with the Protection Against Violence bill, and that the new bill does not contain key provisions that would further help protect women and girls from violence. The provisions were in the gender-based violence bill, though. They called on the government to suspend debate on the bill, but that didn't happen. Instead, Prime Minister Davis, who led debate on the bill, indicated that he was baffled at what he termed a late-hour objection, and now asked why the statement from the women's groups came so late, just hours before the debate was scheduled to start. Bethel said that there was a consultation session on the bill, and she and the other advocates had fully expected further consultation before the government moved ahead. She said when it was clear that government officials were pushing ahead, the groups determined to voice their objection in the statement on Wednesday. Okay, so let's get your reaction to what she's saying and to the matters we talked about earlier, the girl, the 9-year-old, and the 40-year-old woman. And so while all of this is going on, we are having these incidents, and they're still going on, of course. Let's talk about it. Let's get your reaction to it all. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. 242-300-5720. You can tweet us, you can Facebook us, and you can text us, 422-4796. Okay, that's a BPL issue. We'll get to that in a bit. All right. So, what do you make of all of this? What do you make of the points? Again, we talked about this quite a bit on Friday, that it's so strange what's been happening recently. Normally, with a lot of legislation, not always, but often, government officials, the ministries would get to us and say we need to come on to explain this to the public. Can we get on your shows? That hasn't happened with this bill. Hasn't happened in a long time with anything to do with social services. It's just, I don't even know who the director is now. What's going on? Anyway, it's just a really unusual environment over the past few years. And we're seeing this a lot, not every ministry, but with the ones that really do impact people. We're not getting that interaction and understanding This really did come out of nowhere. It's only been a few weeks, and I don't understand it. Why not come and talk and explain why this wasn't included, why this is so much shorter than what it was before? Is it a simplification? What is the difference? But no, nothing like that. And the speed at which that was passed through the House, that is quite something, whereas some other debates just drag on forever and ever and ever and ever. What do you think is going on here? What exactly is the issue, and why marital rape? We know this is still extremely controversial. Looks like that definitely was removed from this bill, and we'll see what happens in the Senate. I mean, we know what's going to happen in the Senate; it will be passed. But it's very, very strange what's going on. And again, getting your reaction to this horrific incident over the weekend, and what we're going to do about it. All right, so now there's more in the story about Marion Bethel's reaction. Bethel says she requested a meeting with Social Services Minister Obi Wilshcombe earlier in the month to address the matter, but the meeting never happened. She said, quote, I can only speak personally for myself to say that I did try to intervene. I did try to have the sit-down conversation. It never happened. But I think as a group, as part of the collective, we were also waiting for more public consultation with the minister and the Ministry of Social Services in between the time that first one took place, which was the only time, and when we were told it was going to be debated in Parliament. Bethel says she hoped the government would have moved ahead with legislation to criminalize marital rape, as consultation of this proposed change to the Sexual Offenses Act was widespread as well. She said, quote, that's what we had hoped they would have moved ahead with, because we've beaten that horse to death as far as I'm concerned, but yet we heard that they're still consulting with the Baptist ministers. Part of the reason I think they've come up with the Prevention of Violence bill is that it's less controversial. It doesn't use the word gender, which is causing a lot of problems everywhere. But my point is the words gender-based violence against women and children, it's a human rights standard. It's human rights language. It's a human rights-based approach. Just talking about violence is not anchored anywhere, even though that 2023 bill, if you go to the definition of violence, it talks about domestic violence. It just needs to be clear that we're talking about gender-based violence and put that back in the bill. Or as I say, let's pick up this 2016 draft bill and refine that. All right. Some very interesting comments from Marion Bethel. All right, let's get back to your messages here. Again, you can text us 422-4796. Oh, my God. Oh, boy. It's going to be one of those days. Okay. This person says here, well, how much consultation do the women's rights groups want on the issue? Which issue are you talking about? And what do you mean, texter? Who needed the consultation? This was anyway, okay, let me continue to read your message. They are trying to consult President Biden and Kamala Harris. What? I stand by the Prime Minister on this one. No slapping up, no pun intended. Texter, please don't text this show anymore. I don't know what's wrong with you. Something's very, very seriously wrong. You need help. I don't understand what this text means. This is crazy. Seek help. This person says, I heard the man accused of 2 rapes was just caught overnight. I wonder if it's going to take 4 months to investigate this. Okay. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free. 242-300-5720. All right. So, as you said, that's happening. We'll see what comes out of this. I mean, it's a little late now. The bill's already passed. That was fast. Unbelievable. And we had a very violent weekend. More murders. A 33-year-old man dead. A 23-year-old man in the hospital. This was after a shooting on Peter Street, west of East Street, around 10:30 yesterday morning. The 23-year-old man was standing on the outside of a residence on Peter Street when he was approached by a man dressed in dark-colored clothing who emerged from a nearby track road. The culprit shot the 23-year-old in the thigh and fled the area, the assailant, onto a nearby track road where he encountered 2 men and shot at them. One of the men was unharmed, but the second man, a 33-year-old, he was shot. And shot to the upper body. The victims were taken to the hospital via a private vehicle, where the 33-year-old man died. Wow. So did he know those guys? It was just he just came across the two men and shot. Wow. Okay. Both victims, police also reported that another man, also 23, was in hospital after he was shot on Friday around 11 p.m. The man, along with his friend, were standing at the front of his residence in the Wilson Tract area when they were approached by an unknown man who shot at them, resulting in the 23-year-old being shot in the leg. The suspect fled on foot in an unknown direction. Again, there were many incidents like that all over Grand Bahama as well. So the gun violence continues. Doesn't look like anything's going to stop that. So we've got multiple issues, multiple problems, and it's just like any other, right? A regular old day in the neighborhood. Everybody's just, oh well. Well, again, what are we going to do? This text here. Good morning, Dwight. It just seems to me that we are experiencing an exponential increase in rapes in our country. While the problems existed in the past, it is definitely much more now and includes kids and old women and a few cases even men being raped. I wonder if someone can or would be willing to give the public an idea of the true ethnicity, of many of the offenders of these crimes. I can be way off here, I think you are, but I feel like our country of old didn't carry on like this. Okay. Oh, hey, texter. They're going to go down that road, hey? Wow. This texter, is that the motto of the Bahamas, to get shot down? I don't understand what you mean. But if you're saying that it's very common for people to get shot around here and it's frequent, yeah, sure. All right. I'm somewhat in agreement with the texter that you asked not to text the show anymore. Firstly, you did not have to read it over the airwaves. Oh, yeah, I did. I need people to hear. That. And with Ms. Bethel, she wants the bill to say women and children. So who does that leave out of the human race? So. All right, so you're not understanding what she's saying, right? So violence is very broad. When you say gender-based violence, it implies something very different, right? That this is a relationship-type situation. And so that needs to be specifically stated, that only because of your gender were you attacked. Now, if someone hit you or did something to you and you beat them up or whatever, that's a different story. The person just happened to be a woman. But in this situation, only because this is your daughter or girlfriend or wife or whatever, that is why. Do you see? I'm simplifying it a lot, but do you see the difference there? No, I guess not. Okay, but that's one of the points they're making. Many, many other points, but yeah, this is a tough topic. All right, so you all would rather talk about politics and other nonsense, but okay. All right. Well, again, this is not victim blaming, but please, for God's sake, we've got to get the messages out there. The people in the country are sick. Some are thinking it's based on their ethnicity. See, it's so silly I can't even say it. But the people are dangerous. Everybody, take note. Be careful of your surroundings. Be careful who's talking to you. Don't leave anything around, drinks, whatever it is. Be careful. Just be careful. We need to get those messages out there like we used to have when I was a child. Do not get into a van or a car, whatever it is. Don't accept rides from strangers. Don't believe them if they say your daddy sent me, your mommy sent. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. They might be telling the truth, but don't believe it. See if you can get a phone, borrow somebody's phone, talk to somebody to see if you can confirm this with your parent. Get those messages out there. They're trying everything now. Be careful. Hi. A few more messages before we have to take a break. This person says here, as with most recent constitutional reform efforts, so with matters of freedom of information, marital rape, gender violence, the public consultations, town hall meetings are mainly used as venting vehicles and never the most salient points used for legislation. Okay, so there are many other ways to do this other than town hall meetings. Right? Now, again, you can make appearances on talk shows like this. You can do songs, as we suggested last week. Stephen suggested that. Stephen Hanna. Maybe that works for some people. Put it in a commercial. Say some things. There are all kinds of things you could do. Billboards. We do the billboards for election and stick the little things in the ground all over the place. So there are other things. Try them. Try them. Interesting question here. Did Minister Alfred Sears vote in support of this bill? That's a great question. I need to try to find out. That's a very interesting question. See, you all are just being ridiculous today. I don't understand this. Why doesn't Marion Bethel, as a text, just come out and say that all men should be castrated? Why would she do that? Do you think that's what she's saying in the other women's rights groups? You think that's what they want? Oh boy, this is the problem. Your responses show me why we're having this issue. It's very clear now. So this is going to be long. This is going to be a long road, and we're going to hear many horror stories like this because all of you are responding in the very worst way. Very worst way. Oh boy. I'm afraid to read the rest of these. Okay, there's just a couple more before we go to the break. This person says here, yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, I can't read the rest of these. All right. Am I shocked? Not really. Not really. This is to be expected. So all the groups have to go back to the drawing board. We've got a big problem, bigger than they thought, bigger than we all thought. The public is showing extreme disrespect and a hatred for women across the board, men and women. And so these issues will never get better. Not until that's addressed, and that seems impossible. Let's see what this caller has to say. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Just feel so disappointed in public response to these matters that are so serious and should be dealt with immediately. I really feel as though I really don't really want to be a part of this community, because this the kind of people I pass on a daily basis. I mean, someone who's going to be running with a gun and just see you and just shoot at you. People are going to bring in these comments that you can't read on the radio. Is that the sum total of who we are, Dwight?
Yep.
What?
Yep.
Please.
Yep, I think so.
Well, you have a job. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, thank you. Boy, oh boy. All right. Let's see if this one's going to be any better. This text just came in before we go to the break. Dwight, oh no, not this too. Oh boy, Dwight, these responses from the texters are a clear indication of what, oh my God, I already told you all, stop saying the D-average thing, come on, of what the D-average really means. I mean this so seriously, and yet, okay. Well, maybe we have to accept it. Maybe that is the case. Oh boy. Okay. We're gonna take a break. Hey, one of the lead singers of one of my favorite groups, the Eagles, Randy Meisner, passed away a couple of days ago. I think we need this type of music today. I gotta take it easy after these responses. We're gonna be playing the songs that he was the lead singer for. This is Take It Easy by the Eagles. We'll be back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Down and take a look at me. Come on, baby. Don't say hey. to save me. We may lose and we may win, but we will never be here again. So open up, I'm climbing in. So take it easy.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It is time for your first look at traffic for the morning, brought to you by RBC. Get in gear with an RBC auto loan. In real-time traffic this morning, so far looking not so bad out there on the streets. We've got Mile Butler Highway, some building traffic northbound, just north of Harold Pond on the way to Tonic Williams Darling Highway, and a bit of congestion westbound on Tonic Williams Darling Highway toward that roundabout with Mile Butler Highway. Elsewhere, Gladstone Road, just north of Munnings Road, you'll see that traffic in front of you heading towards JFK Drive. And not much to talk about elsewhere. So far, so good, but we'll have another update for you after the 8 o'clock news. This first look at traffic brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/gear up for an RBC auto loan. 7:36, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store. We've got high pressure across the country, supporting high temperatures and a light to moderate breeze, while an upper level low along with a surface trough will generate shower activity over the area. Boaters being advised to be alert for waterspout activity, and everybody's being advised to remain hydrated and avoid prolonged sun exposure due to another day with triple-digit heat indices. So, for today, for all areas, expect variably cloudy, hot, and humid conditions with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, becoming fair and warm with isolated showers and thunderstorms mainly in the northwest Bahamas tonight. Gusty winds and higher seas are expected during showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures getting up to around 93 Fahrenheit, 34 Celsius, but the heat index will make it feel like it's 106 Fahrenheit, 41 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. In your extended outlook, that high-pressure ridge will weaken across the islands ahead of a weak frontal boundary. It's expected to enter the northwestern islands by Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. So for Tuesday, tomorrow, partly sunny, hot and humid with isolated showers and thunderstorms. Wednesday, partly cloudy, hot and humid with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms in the northwest Bahamas. Sunny and hot with isolated showers or thunderstorm in the central and southeastern Bahamas. We've got your Tropics Watch coming up in our next weather check after the 8 o'clock news. But this weather check brought to you by Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store. Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store wants to get you ready for back to school. Yes, back to school. They have ready-made uniforms and uniform fabrics for almost every school in the Bahamas. At Carey's, find skirts, blouses, shirts, jumpers, boys' shorts and long pants, neckties, socks, and more. You can even have your uniform skirts custom-made. Get 10% off and shop their selection of school supplies now. That's Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store on Mackey Street Give them a call, 393-0758. 393-0758, Carrie's Fabric and Uniform Store.
Shop early to get your uniforms and get Janae's Uniform Center's buy 4 get 1 free sale. Free monogrammed and regular school shirts, dry fit and cotton polos, jumpers, skirts, boys long and short pants, PE shorts, underclothes, tights, socks, neckties, belts, sleeping mats, hair accessories, and character work desk. Get 50% off backpacks, lunch bags, and raincoats. Buy 4 school shirts, get 1 free. Buy 2 skirts, jumpers, or pants, get the third 50% off. Need embroidery and monogramming done? Visit Janae's Uniform Center early. Beat the back to school rush. Janae's Chesapeake Road back to school special. Restrictions apply.
Tell them that's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get in gear with an auto loan. RBC makes it easy to get your own.
Get in gear with an RBC auto loan with up to 100% financing, extended repayment, and low interest rates. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/gear up. Conditions apply.
That's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get in gear with an auto loan. RBC makes it easy to get your own.
Indulge in an experience that awakens your senses with Nescafe Gold. Premium Arabica coffee beans, carefully selected, roasted to perfection, and finely ground, resulting in a unique and unmatched flavor and aroma that captivates the senses. Enticing aroma, smooth taste. Elevate your coffee experience with Nescafe Gold.
The Bahamas Public Parks and Public Beaches Authority invites all private companies and civic organizations to adopt a roundabout. This is your chance to stand out from the crowd, beautify and enhance our local areas for residents and tourists alike, just in time for the 50th anniversary of our independence. With this opportunity, you can engage persons on the go, generate media interest, and promote your company. Stand out and celebrate 50. For more information, you can call 242-604-3750.
We're gonna give you a check every week for a year. Percy's Pension Plan, Island Game, keep you winning. Percy's Pension Plan, dream big, we will help you live it. Percy's Pension Plan, Island Game, we got you. Percy's Pension Plan, from the friends you can trust. If winning is a must, come play the game you know, cause your best chance is with us. The most trustworthy name is Percy's Island Game. So put 20 on your account and ride this easy train at Percy's Island Game.
Are you ready to turn your passion for hospitality and tourism into a thriving career? Well, here's an opportunity just for you. Check out these new skill certificates at University of the Bahamas. You can choose from 3 concentrations: culinary, pre-culinary, and hospitality. You can complete this program within as little as 6 months, depending on the results of your placement exam. Get hands-on training in the highest industry standard and learn from world-class faculty. Apply today. Space is limited. Call the School of Tourism, Hospitality, Culinary Arts, and Leisure Management at 677-3201, or come on in and find out more. The deadline to apply is August 4th. Don't miss out on this big step to start an exciting career.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
Total Auto Care on Howard Road offers fast, quality auto maintenance at the very best prices. Tune-ups, oil changes, brakes, suspension, wheel alignments, radiators, water pump replacements, and more. Need quality brand name tires for your vehicle, tires that'll stand up to these roads? No worries. We supply Michelin, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, Pirelli, and Toyo. We'll import them fast and install them for you at no extra cost. So when your car needs maintenance or quality tires, we're on Howard Road, just before Burger King. Come see us. Total Auto Care. Call us at 341-6599 or 341-2350.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong with you on this Monday morning. All right, so we are navigating these murky waters as we talk about this horrible situation with a 9-year-old girl who was abducted and sexually assaulted, and a 40-year-old woman who was sexually assaulted as well over the weekend. And also the reaction from the human rights groups, the women's rights groups, about the passage of the Protection of Violence Bill as opposed to the Gender-Based Violence Bill, and the confusion and anger about all of this. All right, so we're getting a reaction to it. A lot of it has been very bizarre so far this morning. So I just want to read some more of the messages that have come through. This is from Bishop Walter S. Hanschel, who's chairman of the Bahamas College of Bishops. This statement: members of the Bahamas College of Bishops will meet to deal with the increased sexual assaults on our women and girls. This evil must come to an end. We are outraged and will do whatever is necessary to assist in resolving this vexing social issue. We cannot and will not allow these rapes and assaults to continue. Recommendations will be made and a plan of action will be implemented. Perpetrators should be dealt with swiftly and harshly. This person says, again, that's Bishop Walter Henschel there. This person says, a white Nissan Skyline is a very specific vehicle. Everyone driving that should have had a visit from the police this weekend. And they also say, I wish you would call out these lies from people that saying that people weren't like this back in the old days. Got a similar text saying something very... well, they go a little bit deeper. This person says, some of these people in this country are absolutely delusional and or straight up stupid. This didn't happen in the Bahamas of old? Of course it did. Behind closed doors, by family members and family friends, and some of those were never reported or were covered up by the family. The reason rapes are on the rise is because men have realized they aren't taken seriously. Punishments aren't serious, and because rape can be hard... Oh, you mean the crimes aren't taken seriously. Okay. Sure. Punishments aren't serious, and because rape can be hard to prove, these deviants rely on saying the women lied on them for some dumb reason. But there's no benefit to women in our country saying they've been raped, because the first reaction is to say she's a liar and to bully her. So answer me, delusional people of the Bahamas, why would a woman come forward today claiming to have been raped when they're automatically shut down, sometimes even by the police? Yep. Wow. This is crazy. We can't be a Christian country because Jesus called for the death of one type of person. Yet not only are people saying why protect women and children, and kids are being raped. Quoting from the King James Bible, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck and he cast into the sea than that he should offend one of these little ones. The country is selfish because they don't even care about children. Wow. You can call in, folks, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, toll free 242-300-5720. And tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. Good morning, Dwight. The Commissioner of Police really have y'all for stupid, I guess they're saying. And he's back in the paper saying the same nonsense. I'm editing a lot here. For the last 4 months, they're going to make a decision this week in the case against the MP. Yes, apparently this week they will reveal their position, the police force. This is very bizarre. This is the weirdest thing. But so the Tribune is reporting that the commissioner says that they're going to reveal their position on the MP being accused of abusing his girlfriend this week. This is like great suspense. Like, okay. I don't, wow. Special. It's very special. Yep. 323-6232. 325-4316. They're going to sell tickets for it when we're going to have a show. Like, come on down, find out where we're going to be, what stands we're going to take. Just $25. All you can drink. I don't know. 325-4259. Toll free 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. How are you there?
How are you doing this morning?
Well, I'm trying to make it. Good morning.
Great. Okay. In reference to the PM making the people who put all the generators online, he's not an expert in that field, so one should be listening to him. The experts already say what is being done.
Well, no, now the CEO's coming back and saying, yeah, it's too risky. Everything the PM says, he's come back and say, yeah, well, that's kind of true. That's true too, yes. So, like, what is going on? What he said here was complete fluff and foolishness, apparently. But it is apparently too risky to run all the generators at once because it would collapse. So we thought we had the jokiest power company in the Western Hemisphere, but it is absolutely true now.
Well, also, too, with the gender-based violence bill, right, they should include men because the gentleman who came in report the rape of himself. I applaud him because men don't do that. You know what I mean? When the serial rapist was running around here, and he came forward and reported. So they need to include men and boys because it's happening to men and boys, although it's not being reported. It ain't just to include LGBTQ or whatever there is.
No one
they should include everybody.
Nobody mentioned that at all, but okay. Sure. Yeah, all right. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. So what we're going to have to do is get some folks in here to explain some things. Right? Okay, because I don't think people are getting it. What that means. It means something specific when you say gender-based violence. Right? You all are thinking that the women only care about women and children being assaulted. That's not what's happening here. But you cannot regard this as just regular violence, because that's not what it is, right? These things often are only happening solely because this person is a woman or a child. It's a little bit different from crimes of opportunity. Well, I mean, that is an opportunity too, but you get what I'm saying? No, I'm not an expert. I can't explain it, but but you need to see that it is not the same as regular violence. I'm trying to say it in as simple terms as possible, but this week I'll have, or they can call it as well, to explain the difference here, because people are getting angry. They keep saying it, keep sending messages about why don't these women's groups talk about when men are getting shot in the street. And I heard somebody a time before, a woman was robbed and shot, and they said, why aren't the women's groups talking about that situation? If she's shot in a robbery by a stranger, that's not the same as her boyfriend or husband or partner or whatever it is killing her. And then, yes, I understand when people are saying that. Well, if the man is killed by a woman in a domestic situation, yes, well, that's a bit different from robbery, drug deal gone bad, beef, that kind of thing. So yes, those type situations, sure, but nothing stopping you from forming a group to talk about men who are being battered or killed in situations like that as well. But there are some differences there, and maybe they haven't done a good job of explaining it. Maybe we haven't done a good job. So maybe that education is desperately needed so people can understand. Because the hatred towards the women's groups is head scratching. But they're talking about something very specific, and you cannot deny that while there are men who are being abused in domestic situations, the number is much smaller than the number of women and children. Right? We do understand that, right? It seems like a lot of people don't get it. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Toll free 242-300-5720. We'll get to BPL and the collapsing buildings potential nonsense in a moment. We'll get to that in a moment. Okay. What? This is a text. What is the obsession with the word gender? Most of the men in Parliament are either married or in opposite sex relationships. Men know how women are. Why are we listening to them about anything? Who? Women or men? What are you saying? Okay. Oh my God. It's already Monday and I've got a Friday type headache. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, are you there?
Hey, Dwight, morning.
Good morning.
I struggled to call this morning, right? Because I was in a similar domestic situation, and it wasn't me. It was my wife at the time that abused and beat me. And what made it rough for me was, I said, you know what? Before she goes to the station and file a complaint with the police or whatever, let me go there first while I'm all tattered, torn, bruised, and bloodied. And went to the station, and the police laughed at me. And you would be surprised to know how much times people would go to the station and the police would just laugh at them and say, oh, we can't do nothing about this. This is a domestic situation. You have to go to the family court. And it hurt. It hurt. I from that day, lost all faith in the police. And the Michael Road police station, they should do better. I'm not sure about all the other ones, but I could definitely say at the Michael Road station, the officers that were there that laughed at me because of what happened to me, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Wow, that is disheartening.
I have never spoken to anybody about this. And just hearing you talk about this morning just triggered a memory that I had repressed for a very long time. This happened back in 2005. And even now I'm shaking just thinking about this, the anger that I feel towards the police and what they did.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. So how did this situation resolve itself? Are you out of this situation?
There was no resolution.
Are you no longer in this relationship?
No, I have since been divorced. I got divorced. However, that is, so you have triggers and memories and stuff to just pop up. That just hearing this, and I understand what women go through because I have dated women where they have been abused by family members, and the trauma that they go through, I go through as well because I can feel it from them, and it's never been reported. It's all hushed up and covered up, always. So this is a far greater thing that people realize.
Yeah.
And for behemoths to get their head out of the hole that they're digging themselves in and making it about, oh, it's just male, and no, it's just abuse. It's just pure abuse, and nothing is being done about it. I applaud the women's groups in this country for sticking up for the women that are abused, but men, they need to get their heads out of the hole, for lack of better word.
Thank you so much for sharing this story. Really appreciate it. And I hope you're talking to somebody so that you're not so easily triggered. But thank you very much. And wow. Oh boy. All right. Let's take a break for the news. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. And now at 8:20, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got a high-pressure ridge that remains draped across the Bahamas that's supporting high temperatures and a light to moderate breeze, while an upper-level low along with a surface trough generates shower activity over the area. Mariners being advised to be alert for water spouts, and everybody's being advised to remain hydrated and avoid prolonged sun exposure during peak sunlight hours due to the triple-digit heat indices we'll see again today. So for all areas, your forecast calls for variably cloudy, hot, and humid conditions with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, becoming fair and warm with isolated showers and thunderstorms mainly in the northwest Bahamas tonight. Gusty winds and higher seas are expected during showers and thunderstorms. Temperature-wise, we're looking at highs getting to around 93 Fahrenheit, 34 Celsius, but the heat index will make you feel like it's 106 Fahrenheit, 41 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. In your extended outlook, the high-pressure ridge will weaken across the islands ahead of a weak frontal boundary forecast to enter the northwestern islands by Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. So for Tuesday, tomorrow, partly sunny, hot, and humid with isolated showers and thunderstorms. Wednesday, partly cloudy, hot, and humid with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. In the northwest Bahamas, sunny and hot with isolated showers or thunderstorms in the central and southeastern Bahamas. In the tropics, we're watching a couple of areas. We've got an area of low pressure about 750 miles east-northeast of the Leeward Islands that has about an 80% chance of development into a tropical depression during the next 7 days. And then there's an area of low pressure located offshore of the U.S. mid-Atlantic coast that has about a 30% chance of developing into a short-lived tropical cyclone. But the good news is that neither of these systems poses any threat to the Bahamas at all at this time. So that is very good there. But that is your Morning Blend weather check. Weather check brought to you by Bahamas First. Visit firstonlineinsurance.com and select a Bahamas First agent to purchase, pay, or renew your car or home insurance 100% online, or just stop by any Bahamas First agent. Bahamas First, celebrating 40 years as the first Bahamian general insurance company. What's first for you comes first for us.
That's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get in gear with an auto loan. RBC makes it easy to get your own.
Get in gear with an RBC auto loan with up to 100% financing, extended repayment, and low interest rates. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/gear up. Conditions apply.
That's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get in gear with an auto loan. RBC makes it easy to get your own.
And time for another check of the traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. Get in gear with an RBC auto loan. Still not looking so bad out there, but you've got a few issues if you're on Mile Butler Highway. Just north of Harold Pond, you'll see that line of traffic in front of you heading northbound to Tawny-Williams-Darling Highway and the roundabout there. Traffic backed up a bit along Tawny-Williams-Darling Highway as well. Over on Gladstone Road, things look pretty good for you until you get to about Munnings Road if you're heading northbound, and it'll be busy straight up to the roundabout with JFK Drive. Also, you just got a bit of building traffic on Prince Charles Drive, heading west towards Soldier Road, but nothing that you can't manage. Carmichael Road, westbound toward Coral Harbor Road, that's looking a little congested for you as well. but manageable today, definitely. In these weeks leading up to the return to the heavy track for the reopening of schools in just a few weeks. But that's your Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/gear up for an RBC auto loan.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Every night I'm lying in bed, holding you close in my dreams, thinking about all the things that we said and coming apart at the seams. We tried to talk it over, but the words come out too rough. I know you were trying to give me the best of your love. Beautiful faces.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with you on this Monday morning. Okay, as promised, BPL, the headline in the Nassau Guardian today, BPL CEO, too risky to run all engines at once every single day. Now we're hearing something unbelievable from either the CEO or also the Prime Minister. It's just been crazy since last week Tuesday when Siobhan Cambridge was on this show. One of the first people to call me about that is joining me in studio now, the president of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union, Kyle Wilson, outraged by what Siobhan Cambridge said on the show as well in relations to industrial situations at BPL and the conditions of workers. Kyle Wilson is joining us now. Good morning, sir. Great to have you with us.
Hey, good morning.
Let's get your mic up there. Here we go.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Good morning to the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union. Good morning to all the affiliates of the TUC and all the hardworking Bahamians out there.
All right. So, Kyle, I hope you can indulge me here. We're going to get to the specific issues that you had concerns with. We asked Cambridge about what you'd said a few days earlier about you giving BPL 30 days to address the concerns of the workers. And we asked him about that, and he said he didn't know anything about it. He didn't know what these concerns were. And you are not happy with that comment. We'll get to that in a bit. But since we have you here, I have to ask you about what has happened in the days since that interview. Cambridge right here in the show saying that the 7 Wärtsilä engines, 5 currently running, and that 2 were just going under scheduled maintenance, but that the 7 are operational. The very next day, the Prime Minister says the engines never worked. And then he says that if they were to run all 7 engines, that the whole building would collapse. And now Cambridge is saying, there are issues because of the fuel. And now, yes, it's too risky to run all the engines at once. What is really the truth here? And why is this story changing? What are we going to hear tomorrow?
With concern to that, that Station A is called, the former Wärtsilä plant. The union has never really been a part of that. That's always been privately run and managed. Even now that the company has, withdrawn the contract, there's still private contractors who are dealing with those engines. So I really have no knowledge of what's going on over at Station A at all. So unfortunately, I can't even speak to that.
Wow. Now, there was a video circulating a few days ago showing engines running. Do you know if that is accurate, if that really is Station A and the Wärtsilä engines?
See, that's the thing, is I've never even been there, so I don't even know what it looks like over there to even be able to speak to that. We do have now that I guess it's been reacclimated to the management of BPL. Because the maintenance is still contracted work. And so I would have no occasion to really go over there or to see what's happening over there. Maybe one day I would take a look to verify, but I can't speak to anything with concern to Station 8 or Wadzilla Engine.
Is the union concerned, or have you been concerned about that situation, the fact that this is privately operated and that you all aren't involved in that? Is that the way it should be?
Yes, there is concerns to that. Believe it or not, I've been speaking with employees over there as far as joining with the union. That's been ongoing dialogue with them, with concerns that they would have in terms of being represented by a union or being represented by a body or collective bargaining.
Yeah. And you wouldn't know whether this is true about the building, the structural integrity of the building. Have you heard any of that before? That if there's vibration and that this sounds like a joke. This can't be. This is how things are.
As a concerned citizen, I too would want to know if these allegations are true or not. So maybe I would ask around, maybe speak to some persons who I may know over there. But I really honestly can't speak to what's going on, because sometimes you have so much disinformation. It seems as if politically everything is heightened all of a sudden. And so, persons may be trying to score brownie points or trying to scare the public. So it's difficult to really answer that with true facts. I've never witnessed it. No one has ever spoke directly to me about it. And so I cannot answer that, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So what is, from your perspective, from the union's perspective, I mean, how are we looking with power generation and distribution at the moment? Can we keep up with demand? We are hearing, we have to question now everything we hear from officials. Is this really the truth? Are you going to tell it, depending on who the audience is, you're going to tell us something different? Here today it's this and tomorrow it's that. What is really going on?
Yeah. Well, I work at the power stations. That's where I work. I'm a mechanic at the Blue Hills Power Station. From time to time, things happen. These are man-made engines. They're not God-made. And so things do happen, and they do require maintenance. The summer pressure is really hard on stuff. And so I know that things do happen. Not intentional, or no one's trying to necessarily be dishonest, but things do happen. Now, to speak about generation capacity and all of that, that's not a conversation I would usually have with the company. And so I don't really know what they have available, because what happened is we also have private power producers. And so persons are not aware that there's a Greco and there's a new company that is running a turbine, as well as some, I guess the same style engines maybe as Wadzilla, but I think they're LNG-based engines. And so I can't give you data from them. And so based on the private power production, and that's what a lot of behemoths don't understand, is that the power production is not just BPL. We have third parties that are also producing power. And so I can't speak to their operations. I could only really speak to the operations that my union would cover. Wow. So I don't know what's going on those sides.
Okay. And do you know if that has always been the case, where you would be, because it sounds like you're almost, and pardon the pun, but in the dark on what's really going on there?
Well, I've said that. I've been saying it for the past 3 years. Being a major stakeholder, being a Bahamian, working there, being a union executive or being a union's president, I always feel as if they're missing the fact that we ought to be engaged. We ought to be a partnership. We ought to be holding hands, working for the betterment of the Bahamian people. We say we operate under the national tripartite system, which is government, employer, and union, or collective bargaining, or the workers. But they always seem to cut one side of the triangle out. Right, which is the representation of the people through collective bargaining or through the unions. And so, how would we expect to have success? Like I tell people in the book of Genesis, it said that God looked down and he saw men working all together on one accord. And he said, if we don't put a stop to them, there's nothing they cannot achieve. And I always tell people, there's nothing we cannot achieve There's nothing that BPL cannot be successful about if they involve the union, if they involve the workers, if they get ideas from the workers. I want to show you something. The feeding of the 5,000, we read that in the Bible. The disciples were all complex as to how they're going to get enough bread to feed these people. But the little young guy came up and said, hey, I have a suggestion. You can use my bread and my loaves. God blessed it and he multiplied it. What I'm saying, the least among us also have ideas and a contribution. And so you don't want to look past the contribution of the union. Yes, they're great engineers. They're university trained and they've been through the training programs. They're very bright people. But you have some of the little guys who work day to day on the plant, who have gained great knowledge and intimacy of the plant, of the engines, of these things. And so sometimes you can engage them and say, hey, what do you think about these engines? Right. Should we continue with this style? What do you think? What are the difficulties that you have faced? But no one is coming to the union. No one is coming to the little guy. Hey, I'm a president too. I have to deal with budgets. I have to deal with issues. I have to deal with buildings, and I have to deal with compliances. So I have some knowledge about things, business-wise too. And so I've gained that. And so you could tap into that too. But we seem to look down and say, oh, these people ain't on our level. But guess what? Sometimes the little mouse is what can be used to free the big lion.
Wow. You said it earlier that you know you're a citizen, you're a customer too, right?
Yeah.
So what do you make of, what should the average person think about these every day, this different story that we're hearing?
It could be scary. It could be scary because you're afraid that your current or your light can be disconnected or turned off anytime. You're afraid that you may not be able to meet the cost of energy. That could cause you to be disconnected. You're afraid that if the rain comes down and you see a lightning storm, our television was just blown and it cost over $300 to repair it. We lost the television. And I told my mom it doesn't make any sense making a complaint because it's going to take so long even if you're going to beat out a TV. So we just decided.
Wait, and
she said,
you said that?
Yeah.
Wow.
I told my mom we just might as well repair the television and move forward. Wow. But these are real life situations that people are facing. And you could imagine a person like me on ground zero. You work hard all day and you get these engines up and running. When you go home, you may not meet the energy flowing. You may not meet current on. And so these are legitimate concerns that Bahamians have. And so you could imagine when you work to BPL and you go there and persons are calling you, but you're in the dark too.
Right.
They think that you could just circumvent one house on a block. No. You just like the rest of them, you suffer too.
Wow. All right. So these revelations coming after, and BPL admitted that, and we all know that. You can look at your bill and see that the fuel surcharge is what's accounting for the greatest increase that you're seeing right now in your bills. But these issues are being brought up. But it is the fuel surcharge.
Well, that's
as far as we know,
yeah,
right?
as far as they say, it's a fuel surcharge.
Right.
But I mean, even me, I always say, why do I have to pay for the fuel that makes the electricity? Because I'm paying for the fuel and the electricity, and I'm still paying. It's like I book a taxi, right? And he stops at the gas station. He fills up his tank, and when he gets to the destination, he said, "Okay, your charge for the ride was $30, but your gas fuel charge is $40.
Yeah.
So the total is $70 plus VAT plus whatever mats and the reduction and this and that and the hoopla and stuff. And so at times you add it up, it's $110, but your actual rate charge for dropping you was $30. Okay, so we still have the lowest rate in town.
This is crazy. I mean, I wish we could really laugh about it, but it is madness, and it's getting worse.
Brother Strachan, maybe I could laugh about it. Maybe I could afford to pay it if it goes up. But we have minimum wage, and we have single mothers out there, and persons struggling with rent, light, water, cable, and other bills just to get around, transportation. And so the rising cost of energy is not something that suits their budgets, and so now they have to cut back, they have to compromise, and so maybe I can maybe smile or chuckle about the situation a bit, but there's others who really can't.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. Okay, so let's talk about what you heard or what was told to you based on the interview with Siobhan Cambridge on Tuesday. Again, I asked him about it. It's been reported. You said you gave them 30 days.
Yes,
how
sir.
far into that are we now? We're about 15 days into?
Well, that was the 21st.
No, it's almost.
Yeah, so we moving fast.
Yeah.
It's not a threat. It's nothing to scare the Bahamian people. It's not to bully anybody, but it's to show that I'm serious about the issues that are plaguing the workers.
Yeah.
And so
Cambridge said he didn't know what you're talking about. He wasn't familiar with these issues, but it has been documented. And you were tell us about it. What has been said to the executives?
Brother Strachan, I would have provided you with receipts of letters as far as a week ago, proving that I would have been trying. Imagine if I didn't write the letters, then I would have no proof. I've been vindicated even by the director of labor, who said he is satisfied by the amount of documentation. But I said, sir, that is about maybe 1% of the documentation that I have. I can bring about 10 folders stacked, right, from the office of Mr. Obie Ferguson Co. and from our union office, proving that over the past 3 years I've been trying to hammer these issues out. To be honest with you, Mr. Cambridge is one of the persons I would have turned to get information from, and even asked him, Mr. Cambridge, I have this issue. Prior to him coming to BPL, I had a relationship with him. I said, what is a proper way to address this matter with respect to, even then, even though I would have differences with the past administration, I still would have asked, how do I properly, with respect, address this? And he would have given me meaningful and thoughtful responses and information. So I would think that he would have been aware, or more than aware, and since he became CEO, I would have met with him, I would have spoken with him, I've given him issues, we've sat in the boardroom. And so if, he misspoke, I would go as far as saying, Brother Strachan, this morning, I forgive him, and I want to move on. I want to fix the problems. I don't want to get in the back and forth of might and strength. He's a brilliant young man in terms of engineering. I have my way in terms of brilliance, in terms of labor. And I don't think you want to have those two clashing. I think we need to come together and hold hands and try to rebuild BPL to what it needs to be for the Bahamian people to have lower light bills and reliable power. Because if there's any great discourse between such parties, we could have real disruption in the country, and energy fuels the modern Bahamas. You have a fancy tablet in your hand, but that's garbage without reliable energy supply. And we have everything now that's a person's working from home. They depend on having reliable energy. So when they hear the union has a discourse or some issue, they're panicked too, because they want to know, hey, they want to get this thing to resolution, because their livelihood, their business. Some people have businesses internet-based through Facebook and Instagram. That's their livelihood. And so imagine if the computers are off, no way to charge your devices, all of that stuff, they would lose income, especially the frost. And so I think it's time to hold hands. Let's move forward. And if any misconception on his part or my part, I forgive myself as well. But I would go as far as saying I forgive Mr. Cambridge if he misspoke as to the true intent in terms of being recognizing the issues that take place in the company.
All right, we're talking with Kyle Wilson, the president of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union. All right, so let's outline some of the issues that you raised, that you did bring to the attention of the executives at BPL that you're giving them these days to address.
Well, one of the major issues is the pension scheme that there's evidence I would have negotiated for the continuance of a contributory pension scheme. But there seems to be, over the past 5 years, the company would have been engaging in a contributory pension scheme. But the pension scheme that I would have negotiated was the continuance of the non. And so I'm saying to them, hey, I'm not on this pension board. I'm not aware of the issues concerning this pension. The company is taking monies from the workers, and I have no way to account for where the money is going or what's happening. So I've been asking for 3 years to be made aware of what's going on until we resolve these issues. It's before the court. But in the meantime, I want to see and know due diligence is happening on behalf of the workers. That's my job. So why are you keeping it away from me? That's a serious issue. And I'm not going to just sweep that under the rug. That's a major issue. I'm going to stand firm that I need to know. I need to sit on the board. I need to know who's getting the money, where it's being directed, and where it's going to. Because from my understanding, even recently, one of the companies that may be connected with that, there was just some issue with the U.S. government having to freeze some accounts related possibly to that company. I need to know what is happening with the people's money. That's the members' money. And I need to know that that right is being done on their behalf until we can resolve the matter. Another issue is...
How many people will be affected by this? How many people?
It could be probably as high as 100 people, close to, maybe. I don't know. And the point is, I really don't know. And no one is forthcoming necessarily with the information. We had a sit down with the companies involved. But persons became upset on my side because there was someone on the other side who they felt would have, me too, felt would have postured in arrogance. And we saying, hey, hold on now. You're all holding our money and investing it, and you can come here and almost be a smart, you know what. And that sort of triggered even more pressure on me because the members and executives, they got even more frustrated and say, listen, see, this is the reason why we have to know what's going on because these people being arrogant, always holding our money and playing around. And so that's more pressure. Then we have the medical, in terms of agreement, I feel it's not in keeping with what was agreed. And so that's further discussion. We have clauses for cost of living that needs to be looked at. We're talking about transportation. We're talking about tools. A lot of people are saying that they need upgrade in tools and transportation and that type of stuff. I mean, I can go on. If I was to go on, I wouldn't even subject debate with people are going on and on for days because every island has a different demographic and has different and special needs. But quite frankly, the workers feel as if their issues are not being recognized.
There are some other key ones I want you to address, though. Hazard pay and overtime. Let's talk about that.
Well, overtime is okay. In terms of overtime is always subject by the company. The manager would ask you to assist or to stay back or to put in extra hours to try to get something out. I don't think there's no major issue with that. But I do think that there's a double standard with hazard pay because some people are getting it. Imagine me and you sitting in the studio and you find that I'm receiving hazard pay for sitting in this room. You're also in the room and you're not getting it. So how is that fair? So I want to know the standard by which you would give it to one, but you're not giving it to all. And so these are legitimate questions that I have. These are legitimate questions I have been asking and I have been trying to get resolution to for months and months and months on end. No response. And so, it does agitate you that you're really trying the right way. You're trying the right approach. You're trying to do it in the right way with respect to everything you're writing. But no one writes back. No one comes back with a resolution. The problem is just swept under the rug, right? And so my accountability is to those persons who gave me 99% of the vote. That's almost unheard of. To give someone almost 100% confidence in this leader to say, we want you to get our issues resolved. So I have a serious mandate to get it done. And so I want to do it with respect. I want to engage the company and show them that the union wants to be a part of the solution. We don't want to just be making noise. But so by the time you see me make noise, that means that all avenues has been exhausted. I know that I have 100% of the members willing to follow me in protests. But that doesn't mean that I should just use that tool because I have it in my arsenal. No, what I want to use is the proper way, through proper industrial relations, proper respect for one another. Maybe because I work to BPL and they see me in the uniform, they still see me as subject to their leadership in terms of management. So they don't necessarily see Kyle the union president. They probably see Kyle the employee. And so sometimes I think they may misstep in that. But what they're not recognizing is Kyle, the leader, has 100%. You see, the leadership of BPL, they have say over the people, and so do I. And I can guarantee you, I can get the people to move 100 times faster than any of those leaders in the company. Because they trust me and they know anything I do is in the best interest, not just of workers in BPL, but all workers. You know something? I came in on the apprenticeship program, and it was scrapped out of our industrial agreement. I fought to have that returned back to the agreement, and because of that, some maybe 60 plus young men and women in this Bahamas are going to have meaningful, high-paid, quality jobs. But that's something I fought for. I could ask for more money. I could ask for more things for me. No, I asked for a better future for those young Bahamians so they wouldn't be out on the streets creating havoc, that they wouldn't just be sitting around, but they'll have meaningful, lifelong careers that could take them to CEO one day. Because if you look at the leadership structure of BPL, they all came through the training programs of BPL that has all of those leaders sitting up there in the executive office.
Wow. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to find out what's going to happen after these. I mean, it's kind of almost up now, right? These 30 days.
Yeah.
What is next? And we've got a lot of questions on our text line. I'm sure our listeners have questions for you, too.
Sure.
Kyle Wilson, the president of the BEWU, Bahamas Electrical Workers Union. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Little to give. That same old crowd was like a cold dark cloud that we could never rise above.
Introducing Wendy's new Chimichurri Cheeseburger. Chimichurri. That's how you pronounce it. Let it roll off your tongue. Then get ready for some ridiculously good flavor. Fresh, herby, garlicky, green, chimichurri. It'll feel like a relaxing backyard get-together with friends on a Sunday. But in a burger. Come meet Wendy's new Chimichurri Cheeseburger with our new Dave's Craft Lemonade. Wendy's, different inside and out.
When faced with an illness like cancer, we band together, and we at Cleveland Clinic in Florida have your back. From advanced cancer treatments to extra safety measures at all of our locations, we're with you on this journey. For every infusion and follow-up, for every step of the way, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic in Florida. Get the care you need when and where you need it. To learn more or connect with a local representative, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
Total Auto Care on Howard Road offers fast, quality auto maintenance at the very best prices. Tune-ups, oil changes, brakes, suspension, wheel alignments, radiators, water pump replacements, and more. Need quality brand name tires for your vehicle, tires that'll stand up to these roads? No worries. We supply Michelin, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, Pirelli, and Toyo. We'll import them fast and install them for you at no extra cost. So when your car needs maintenance or quality tires, we're on Howard Road, just before Burger King. Come see us. Total Auto Care. Call us at 341-6599 or 341-2350.
Attention all beauty enthusiasts. Perfect Tone, your go-to destination for restorative skincare, is on the move. Famous for flawless results within 30 days, Perfect Tone is relocating to the shops of Southwest Carmichael Road. Now is the time to get the skin you've always dreamed of, removing dark spots, acne, and oily textured skin for good. For more information and updates, follow us on social media or visit our website at ptskincare.com.
We're gonna give you a check every week for a year. Percy's Pension Plan. Island game, keep you winning. Percy's Pension Plan. Dream big, we will help you live it. Percy's Pension Plan. Island game, we got you. Percy's Pension Plan. From the friends you can trust. If winning is a must, don't play the game you know, cause your best chance is with us. The most trustworthy name is Percy's Island Game. So put 20 on your account and ride this easy train at Percy's Island Game.
It's been 35 years since Custom Computers was founded, and we'd like to celebrate that milestone by thanking you, our clients and customers. You've inspired 35 years of expert service and support, partnering with the world's leading brands like HP, Apple, and Microsoft. We take pride in setting the bar for what you expect and deserve from a homegrown Bahamian business. We're here to serve you when you need us, so call 396-1101. Custom Computers, raising the standard since 1987.
Indulge in an experience that awakens your senses with Nescafe Gold. Premium Arabica coffee beans, carefully selected, roasted to perfection, and finely ground, resulting in a unique and unmatched flavor and aroma that captivates the senses. Enticing aroma, smooth taste. Elevate your coffee experience with Nescafe Gold.
Are you dreaming of the perfect summer getaway? Apply for a debt consolidation or personal loan to win an airline ticket to Paris, Miami, or New York. Win up to $2,500 in cash and more. For details, call 356-7764 for Nassau, 602-6811 for Freeport, 823-4374 for Abaco.
Are you ready to take your career to the next level as a qualified mental health or school counseling professional? University of the Bahamas has a new Master of Science in Counseling program. Get ready to reach new heights as you learn from our expertly trained faculty. Our program meets the highest international standards, ensuring you receive the best education possible. We focus on everything you need to excel, like individual and group counseling, clinical interventions, and research and program evaluations. Our 2-year program brings together a close-knit cohort that'll support you throughout your educational journey. Experience the power of transformation. So what are you waiting for? Grab this opportunity now. To apply, call 397-2602, 397-2606, or email graduate@ub.edu.bs. Don't miss out.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with my guest today, Kyle Wilson, the president of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union. All right, we're getting a lot of reaction on our text line. People like in shock about what you said a few minutes ago about how you've never been, as the president of the Electrical Workers Union, you've never been to the dilapidated building that could collapse if all 7 of the Wärtsilä engines are on. And they're like, wait, what? What are you saying?
Yeah, well, it was fenced off. It was like a Fort Knox. You could not, if you were not on a BPL shirt or employee, you could not go over onto that property. It's BPL's property, BPL's engine, everything. But you could not go there. You were blocked off, fenced off, and security at every point telling you can't access the property. It was once said that is the Lamborghini, the new Lamborghini, and we're the central workers, and so we're not allowed on the Lamborghini plant, you know. And that's a true situation, and that does not refer to the current leadership. That was the past.
Okay. But it hasn't changed?
Well, it has changed, that persons can access it, I guess, who are now, because it's fully, the contract is now fully back, I guess, people able to terminate a contract, and so they would have managers and employees over there, even though the maintenance is still, I understand, to be contracted. I guess from time to time, persons would be allowed to go over to assist with maintenance or assist with issues over there.
Yeah, wow. So, I mean, we got people saying, like, yeah, you and I talked about this off air, like, the media needs to come and take a look. I mean, you think we'd have access to this? I mean...
well, I would say you probably come to get an axe.
Should we be afraid to go in the building? Because it might collapse at any minute.
Well, if it's in order, if it's proper, then the company probably, would say, well, let's check it out for ourselves. We got to be more investigative. As you say and I say, but then there's the truth.
Right. And
so people rely on persons like yourself to bring truth. Imagine if we didn't have a media to go to. What behooves me and what frustrates me and upsets me is sometimes they get angry because I come to the media to express the union issues, but it's just like blind Bartimaeus on the side of the road screaming for help. He was told to keep quiet, and he had to scream more, and he was told to keep quiet, but until he really shouted and shouted, did he get the attention for the help he needed. And so you can't mind the people telling you, oh, you go on the media, you're always talking to the media. But guess what? if you see BPL's issues, and always in the media, I had to learn in the media that BPL is actively seeking or engaging in contract talks for LNG. I have to learn that BPL is engaging in this for that. I have to learn this, or I have to look. I find out that this morning at the OPM, the BPL leaders are talking. They're always in the media, and they're always saying what they're doing, but they never tell the people or the representative of the people, which is the union. I represent the junior staff at BPL. I have to learn, just like the public, through the media as well. But when I speak to the media, he talking the business or whatever. You know, I was a pastor, his name was Rod Parsley, and he had a book that's called Silent No More. So imagine the labor leaders of yesteryear would have had the same approach of keep quiet and we ain't saying nothing. No, they had to come public. They had to demonstrate. They had to do the things that would have ushered in, believe it or not, the New Bahamas through Burma Road riot, and the taxi cab union strikes, and this thing happening, and that thing happening, and the straw vendors coming to the aid of Celine and those when they or the straw vendors union coming to the aid of Celine and those when they throwed the Mason. Unions have always been a part of this country's history. And if you look at the founding fathers of the Bahamas, maybe 90% trade unions.
Yes, yeah. We got to break for news for a second, so I hope you can stick around. But there's this video that's been going around over the weekend. Somebody says that it was oil, but the CEO told our team it was salt water. Yeah. And that is accurate. Can we believe that? Because will it be salt water tomorrow, or will it be something else?
No, tomorrow? I can assure you that when I saw it, I laughed because the person, they didn't know. They just see a power plant, so they don't understand. Things do happen. We live in the real world, man. These things are man-made, and it is salt water they use to cool the engines, and that is truth. If that was diesel, I could assure you they would have moved. You would not see a board covering that, okay? That was just seawater, and they're right by the sea, so that water would go right back out to the sea, even if it's a little leak. And so at this point, they don't have the option of stopping that to shut down a whole plant, right? So that person could get their wish. If them stopping the whole plant system to just, I guess, put some RTV or a little sealing around a pipe, how important would that be versus keeping the power flowing? So sometimes, like I said, people get overzealous and excited. They get excited about situations that...
I mean, when you hear that a building could collapse if all the engines are on, people are very nervous.
Well, that guy you watch the work there, he says what it is, and so I guess the company can prove to the media otherwise. I can't speak to the issue.
But not oil, salt water. And even tomorrow it'll still be salt
water.
All right. So when we come back, we're going to find out what's going to happen after these, and it's fast approaching, right? 30 days are up. Talking with Kyle Wilson with the BEWU. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We'll be back after the news. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Monday, July 31st, 2023. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. We are talking about electricity and BPL. We continue our discussion from the previous hour with Kyle Wilson, the president of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union, representing the workers at BPL. And as we've been talking about, you issued an ultimatum, I guess, to BPL management that they had 30 days to address some of these issues. You outlined them for us in the previous hour. But what happens now? We're approaching, if not there already, the 30 days. What happens next?
Yeah, as you see, it's not just a wild cat thing or any situation. I just posturing. If you notice, the press conference took place in the law offices or chambers of Mr. Obie Ferguson and Co. You would have noticed that he was right next to me, and you would notice the room was filled with other presidents and union leaders who were in support of me.
Oh, boy.
They know that I would have been trying to resolve these issues. And so I've been left with no other option than to say, you know what? If you don't sit and reason and try to work them out, the union only has one major tool that we can use to really garner your attention, okay? I don't want to use that tool. I know that tool is available to me. It's always available. And the people will support 100% from Abaco to Nagua, me having to do what's in their best interest. I don't want to get to that. I want the issues resolved. That's the main point. And in that vein, too, I'd like to thank the Honorable Fred Mitchell. I would have spoken with him, and he said, Kyle, listen, I spoke to the chairman, pick up the phone and call him. So I said, yeah, but he said, listen, man, pick up the phone and call him. And I called the chairman. We had a contentious but good talk, and at the end of the conversation, we'd come to some reasonable understanding. I would have met with the CEO and COO last week with the director.
Since he was on the show,
yeah,
you met with him.
and
Okay.
you know, as usual, the meeting started hot and contentious because I was carrying a lot of anger. I'm frustrated, and I'm still frustrated as to why 3+ weeks and we even didn't get water to the employees, and we didn't get a trailer to them, and the union has to agitate for basic necessities, right? And so that behooves me that I have to almost challenge the status quo for just basic human, necessities like shelter for the workers, and water or running water and stuff.
Explain that to us, the shelter for the, I don't think you mentioned it before.
Yeah, as you know, like you said, the station would have suffered a misfortune and they would have lost the station.
This is in Andros.
In North Andros. And since the workers have been working from under a tent in the power station yard, operating from under the tent, and when it rains, it becomes unbearable, and sometimes the heat becomes unbearable because they're sandwiched between the two engines. And so you have the heat from the engines and the heat, but the index saying over 100. And so they have to remove themselves and go to cooler shade under the canap tree, right? Then Captain Randy Butler said, hey, I have a space that's a few yards away. If you guys need to use the restroom or need to cool off, you can come there and use the space. But now I understand that he's saying that he has to now move on and rent the space. And so that could be another potential issue this week in terms of us. But the company has committed to having a trailer sent to them. I just hope it's in time. And so they have committed to making conditions better. But I'm just simply saying, right, should I have to agitate to this level, right? They said that they were speaking with employees and speaking with union, shop stewards and stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm still the president of the union. You can't skip me out, okay? And so certain issues, you have to at least inform me, update me. And like I said, I have ideas that can help. And so make me a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. But that takes the understanding on their part to realize that my hand is out, reaching out to help, right? And so don't shun it, embrace it. Don't wait until we have to get to a point of discourse and everyone is upset that I'm saying stuff or that may be potentially embarrassing or whatever. But these stuff never have to come. If we face each other, there's never a back to stab. And I've been telling the leadership that let's work together. I've been saying it then, and I'm saying it now. Don't just be quick to shun the union president. There are issues. I represent the workers, not my issues. Kyle is okay, but some of the workers are not. And so like I say, if it comes to what it comes to, you're just going to see me and God out there. But I guarantee you're not. You're going to see those same workers who hand you shake, who smile with you and say everything cool, but they called their president and said, please fix these conditions for us. Please help us. Because the average employee is not going to take on the CEO or take on the chairman or take on a director, right, out of fear of retribution. So they would smile with them, but then they're gonna come to their union and say, "Hey, I need you to, like a big brother, I need you to fix the situation for me, please, or to stand in the gap for me, right?" And they know. Sometimes maybe some people take maybe advantage of the fact that I'm always willing to stand. I'm always willing to push the envelope on behalf of workers, because that's the component of the tripartite system that is not really being noticed or respected or left behind. A triangle is not a triangle unless you have all sides. I mean, I don't know what to call it. It's a check mark, or what do you call it? So we have a national tripartite system, not a national L or whatever design they want to make it. You cannot exclude the workers from that. You can't call it partite. You got to call it bi, whatever. But when you call it tri, you have to involve all sides. Please involve all sides. And so there's an MOU signed in August of 2021 that lays out a map, a blueprint to set aside all of these and to mitigate against all of these issues. And if it's followed and if it's respected, then we wouldn't even have none of these issues. And so I'm saying to those in authority, when you put people in place to represent the administration of the day, make sure that they are fully aware of anything that you would have signed or agreed to, and that they're operating in that vein, because it could cause a disconnect and it can cause issues. But no one should have to tell you to respect a union leader. No one should tell you to have to respect someone. I respect the CEO. I respect the chairman. I respect their seats. So no one should have to tell you to respect mine. That should be automatic. I was elected. I wasn't selected. I wasn't appointed. I had to go from Habago to Nago and gain the confidence of the people to represent the issues. So just like many of our elected officials, they had to be elected by the people that gain their confidence to represent their constituency. These are my constituents, so I have to speak on their behalf. And so I get behooved when person is saying, "Oh, don't speak up for the workers. Stay silent." Man, I'm not going to suffer in silence. I'm going to speak up. I don't know if you watch Roots. Kunta Kinte, he ain't changing him. He ain't back down. Through the beating and through the suffering, he kept his point. And so I'll always keep my point. Even if they want to victim, even whatever they want to do, I'll still continue to speak and agitate for work. This is what you call a sacrificial job. It's a thankless job. I get blasted out by workers. I get abusive language. And you know what? I accept it because you know what? I feel the way they felt. That's why I became president, because I too was frustrated. I too was victimized by a scrupulous boss who want to use their position to take advantage. And so,
you sent me a voice note from an employee. I mean, he sounds very angry with the union. I mean, not so much with the companies, but the union. But he's talking about his frustrations that he has with the company.
Yeah, but he noticed that he's directing it to me to say, do something about it, right? And I can send you about 10 or 20 of those that I receive, right? And I don't get angry, you know. I sympathize because they have their challenges, and to them, their challenges is what they're facing. That's the world to them to have resolved. And so I don't get angry. I go and I try to resolve it. I even call, if they leave a voice note, I call them back. And they said, I'll go there. And so sometimes when you see me upset or you see me frustrated, that's me reciprocating that frustration of the employee, so their anger could be felt, right? Because if they're very upset and they're passionate, Johnny says that he has an issue and no one's going to take it serious.
Right.
My man, listen, I'm going to see the passion that he has. I'm going to take that on and reciprocate it, because he would be afraid to say that direct to those in authority, but I'm not.
Yeah, wow. All right, we're going to get back to you on the timeline of the action that you will take if you don't hear from the executives in a bit. But we got text messages coming in. You can text us as well, 422-4796, or call in 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Okay, you mentioned Andros, but we know Luther was having issues as well. Other family islands. What can you tell us about what's happening on the islands? How bad are things looking out there?
Like I said, multiplicity of issues. Islands are unique unto themselves in terms of issues. But, the main thing a lot of people are talking about is they want to have the tools available to do their jobs, right? A lot of people say they have to improvise a lot.
Mm.
But, NASA has a lot of stores that you can get things from AID and all those places you can run around the corner.
Right.
And so a lot of the people on the out islands, they don't have that option available to them. And so sometimes they feel left behind in terms of tooling, in terms of transportation and stuff like that, to be able to effectively get their job done. They get it done, but sometimes in adverse conditions and situations that could be a little unsafe, doing things with ladders and on the back of trucks when they should have proper bucket trucks and stuff like that.
Wow.
And so that's been a big cry for increase in, vehicles to be able to carry out the jobs.
Wow. Okay. This text here. The demands of the union sound like a scorned lover. I want. If the government owes the people overtime, then pay them. But everyone can't expect a raise every 6 months, although you didn't mention that. If you're not performing up to par, give them hazard pay, and maybe government should pay half their health insurance. But us taxpayers can't pay everything and be your daddy. Seems like every day these civil servants want a raise for wanting sake.
Yeah, I would ask that person to come in an environment like BPL and work without proper health insurance. That's a dangerous job, okay? When you go to your job today, you don't deal with power lines. You don't deal with high tension power all around you, big cranes. It's no ouch in BPL. It's break or pass away almost when serious accidents take place. And so people are speaking out of feelings and probably a bit of ignorance. And so I understand how people feel as Bahamians. We always feel as if it's as a Bahamian, you shouldn't earn a good dollar for working hard. People are working for that money. They're earning it. And how would that person feel, right? If something happens late in the night and they call on the BPL workers to come out of their beds, away from their families, right, to restore power. And they said, you know what, we're not working overtime. We're just going to come 9 to 5. That person would have a different thought process. Oh, the BPL people leave us in the dark. But it takes overtime. Persons going out of their beds late at night, away from their families, leaving their home unsecured to restore power to the Bahamian people. You got to be fair, man. These people have degrees. They are highly educated, right? And you always attacking the worker. Always say, oh, you're making too much. How do you know how much they're making? Some of the BPL workers are some of the lowest paid in the country because of this new higher scale that they've implemented. Okay? And so we have to move over. I ain't talk nothing about money. But see, that's how blinded we are about Bahamians, that this person imagined that I was on this show talking about money. I mean, come on, man. Let's be reasonable as Bahamians and stand up and stand for one another. This person needs to go to Switzerland, where minimum wage, if you work at McDonald's, is over $4,000 a month. See, we getting conditioned that $1 is too much for a Bahamian to have. Yes, they'll be round, I hear this one taking so much money, I hear this politician doing that, and I hear this and that. And it's okay for them to have as much as the millions of them, but as soon as they hear a little man, $1 is too much. Everyone want everybody on minimum wage in this country. These are professionals doing a professional job that no one I could go in a classroom, I could teach physics, I could teach maths, I could teach social science right off of my head. I could teach geography off of my head. I could teach them right now. And I dare any one of them teachers to come and do my job. You can't.
Wow. Call in, folks, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, toll free 242-300-5720. This person says, oh boy, all the best to Mr. Wilson in his future political and or pastoral campaign. What now? But we need, I guess you quoted a lot of Bible verses.
I always go through it.
Right. But we need real answers and real solutions to keep our power reliable and our bills affordable. We do, but what insight can you provide for that? I mean, you talk about how you can't get into what Wärtsilä engines are, but what else are we seeing? Blue Hills, we know there's often something going on in Blue Hills that causes a problem.
I often encourage the workers to work their best to do what they have to do. I try to mitigate against industrial issues by encouraging workers to stay on the job, work diligent, work hard for the Bahamian people, and allow me to agitate for any of the issues that they have to face. But let's try to keep the power reliable, keep it safe, keep it affordable. That's something I do and I encourage. I'm not the CEO, I'm not the chairman, I'm not paid to do that job. I'm here talking about worker issues and speaking from the reliance, and so I get hit with the stick because I work to be. It's okay. I understand.
But can you tell us, how bad, antiquated, mashed up is the equipment? What are you dealing with? Stuff from the 1800s? What are we looking at here?
Well, to be honest with you, right, these engines are designed to last a long time. That's the purpose for them. Because we're talking about changing engines you can't change them engines that's in a car. Those engines are the size of 3- and 4-story homes. You can't just change them overnight. They're designed for nearly lifetime. That's the designation of these engines. When you put down, you spend 30, 40 million, I think the government would spend. You can find that every year or two if you want brand new. Do you know how long it takes to install and what you have to go through to install an engine? Geological studies and all these things. That ain't no easy thing. And I tell people, I could be honest with you, being the leader in these companies, I know it's a tough job because there's so much pressure on you, especially when you're dealing with a government system versus a private system, because you have so many people trying to dictate and say things, and you're trying to figure out the policy changes with administrations in terms of what type of engines they may use or what direction they may go in. And so when it changes, you get a new leader, and then they have a new direction. And so we've been going through that cycle now for almost 25 years. And so this is what is manifesting itself. And so, I mean, if people think that you could just change the engine every minute, well, good luck, right? I mean, you definitely would see a rise in your fuel, your energy costs.
Well, I want to ask you about that. What advice would you give to the public now faced with these high bills because of the fuel surcharge? What would you say as a union leader and a consumer? What can people do during this time? This is the hottest summer we've experienced in a long time, it seems.
Well, I mean, just personal advice. You just want to be mindful of just leaving lights on unnecessary. Like you say, you can put timers and timers on lights. You can put timer on your water heater. You could try to have a set day to do all your washing. Maybe instead of you washing your 3 pants now and me washing my 4 pants later. And so you could pool in terms of washing or find a set day to do all washing. In terms of air conditioning, maybe everyone would say, listen, in the day, we just run the air conditioning in the front room. If everyone want to hang out in the front room, we'll run the air conditioning. Or at night, 1 or 2 of the rooms, we could probably, all the kids in one room or the adults. And I mean, there are ideas and things you can come up with collectively. But generally, the summer, I mean, I'm speaking from my knowledge now, my personal common knowledge, and understanding electricity to some degree. The harder it is, the more resistance in the line. The more resistance, the harder you got to push the engines to have that flow.
Wow.
So with record heat is more resistance, more flow, more pushing, more. So imagine if you have to run at full speed all day nonstop. You're not designed to really do it, but these are things that you have to do is to try to push and push and push and push and push. And so you have workers 24 hours around the clock making sure that in terms of the members, and I encourage the members, please go out there and do what you have to do, because right now it's all hands on deck. And so that's what I'm saying. I'm not really about necessarily just being mean-spirited and saying, okay, if 30 days coming, it ain't happen, this ain't gonna happen, this is what's gonna happen. I still have the Bahamian people at heart and saying that, hey, guess what? I'm gonna try my best to see if we could get to the table to work out something before that happens, because that ain't the route that I want to take. I know the option is always there.
Right.
That's a strong option, right? That's a strong and easy option for me, because it ain't me who want it. It's the workers who, but I say to them, listen, let me try. And I'm engaging all parties, just to make sure that no one could say that I ain't reach out to them. I drop a Friday, I make sure I take the letter to the CEO. one to the Prime Minister's office, one to the Minister's office, and one to the PS office, and put one on the file and everything, and make everybody sign, because I don't want to say that they are not aware of certain things. So I'll make sure that everybody is aware to try to bring resolution. I want resolution. I'm a patriotic Bahamian, you know. I love this country. It's a great country. It's beautiful. People spend I used to work at the front desk at Atlantis. And some people just for 2 weeks, they would spend $30,000 in room rate just to be here in the Bahamas. This is where I live. I can just jump in my car and go to the beach or go and experience the Bahamas with the greatest of ease, or just jump on a plane and go to one of the family islands. But these people come from around the world. So when they come for this Bahamian experience, they don't want to come to see the lights out.
Right.
They don't want to be, the tourists have to be pressured in darkness, especially on the outer islands that may not have like a big hotel where they have like generators. Some of these smaller Airbnbs are really dependent on the reliability of energy. And so we have to think about not just us or the issues sometimes. We have to think about the greater good and be sacrificial sometimes. Like I said, I'm not just a person out there. I have my cousin, Pastor Strachan. See, I don't know if you're related, but we pray every day for direction and guidance. I have Obi Ferguson that I lean on daily for guidance. If he don't see me today, and he see tomorrow pass and midday, I get in all kind of, you okay where you are? Because I go to them daily to get direction, even the director of labor and a lot of other people in Quiet Bahamas. I'm not going to call their names, but I ask these people for direction and what to do. And so I'm not just wild about carrying on for money and care, but if I deserve it, why not? If I earn it, why not? Right? I'm not going to work for free. I'm going to be honest with you. And if I think that my price is my price, if I deserve something, I'm going to try and get what I think I'm valued, right? And so we pay foreigners all kind of big money, and it's okay. But soon, for some reason, as long as a Bahamian gets $1 for doing the same job, like we've been trained to hate on each other for being successful.
We're running out of time. Let's take this call quickly, though. Good morning, caller, on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Dwight, and good morning, Kyle. How you all doing?
Great. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. Dwight, before I make my comment this morning, let me just express to you, I didn't appreciate the level of conversation that we had the last time I took time out to call your show and comment. I wanted to express that to
Well,
you.
like I said to you, I mean, are you working at BPL now? How do you know these things, or whatever it was we were talking about? It's very disturbing to the Bahamian people that you would know this stuff, but the officials aren't coming to us to tell us those things. That's very bizarre, Anton, and I don't think you're doing them any favor by doing this, right? Why do you know this, but we don't know this stuff? Or
it wasn't BPL or Dwight, but
whatever it was, but you know stuff that nobody else knows. Like, what's that about? That's insane. Our elected officials aren't talking to us, but callers to talk shows know the stuff. This is not acceptable for the Bahamas today.
That may be the case, but nonetheless, to get into the comment today, Carl, I just want to express to you that I appreciate your level of commentary. I believe that it's very constructive. I believe that you're being responsible in your approach. I understand that you're seeking to get a resolve on behalf of Bahamian workers who are working mid-level and high-level jobs that are very high risk. I appreciate that you're trying to get the best for your staff or for your union members. I appreciate that you're trying to get basic needs and necessities met for them, such as medical health insurance, which is very critical to them being able to perform their job and be safe or be covered in the event of injury or harm, and to be able to bring some level of stability and security to their families and their households. And so I highly respect your fight that you're putting out on their behalf, and I pray that the government works along with you to resolve the issues there regarding the staff at BPL. Now, on the
Anton, you don't have any insight into when that's going to happen? You don't know? Or you're not familiar?
I can say to you, Dwight, that I haven't inquired.
Oh.
So no, I do not.
Okay.
Right? I'm listening to Carl express these issues for the first time, and I appreciate the level of dialogue that he is expressing. that he's coming forward to the Bahamian people and discussing. And I also agree with the sentiment, which I want to echo, that it's a really sad time in our country when we have Bahamians who seem to have a problem with their own fellow Bahamians getting what is due to them, even at the most basic levels of medical insurance, to cover persons who are working in an extremely high-risk environment, a very dangerous environment. And so it's very sad indictment on the mindsets in our country when we don't want to see our own paid properly, not paid over the hump, but simply paid properly and treated fairly for the level of risk that they're placing their lives under and placing their families or subjecting their families to as a result of the work that they're carrying out on our behalf. And I pray that Bahamians change that mindset, because it is a poverty mindset that will tie to the donkey's butt. I pray that we change that mindset. It's a mindset that will cause for us to never rise to where we're supposed to rise in this country as Bahamians, where the best of whatever our country has to offer comes to us first and foremost, and then consideration to everyone else thereafter. But on the next note, Dwight, that I want to speak to, relating to the engine. Look, that report that you played from the CEO, that's not the first time I heard that on Guardian. I heard that on Guardian over the last 2 to 3 weeks, and I thought I was hearing things when I heard the report, to be quite frank, right? I was like, no, how is it possible that a government can enter into an agreement? As Carl said, when you are purchasing these types of engines, these aren't engines you just go and buy every year. These are engines that are the size of multi-level rooms, and they are very expensive, and it takes a very long time to set up, and the government doesn't have the kind of money to just go and really spend to replace these, when the government takes tens of millions to hundreds of millions of dollars of our taxpayer money. It needs to be proficient, it needs to be efficient, it needs to be prudent, and it needs to spend our money properly. And what is happening at BPL today, based on the report, which Carl wasn't able to speak to, and I'm very appreciative that he was able to put that on the table, that he has no idea because they're in Building A. It's nonsense, right? And I don't hear the outrage for the amount of money that was spent with Watilla when we had a deal on the table with Shell Bahamas that would have put us into the 23rd century with generation and distribution, which is off the table now, and we are stuck with these engines where we can't even run them all at one time because the facility would come crumbling down. Where's the outcry regarding that, Dwight? Where's the outcry?
I think people are in complete shock. Thank you very much. People are in complete shock about that. They cannot understand, and that it would continue for, seems like a while. People have known about this. You just continue to have that situation in a building like that and not do anything. So that is wild. Okay. Wow. So what's going to happen? How long before you have to take this to another level?
Like I said, I was serious about the issue of giving the company 30 days. I think it was more than reasonable. In the past, I said 7 in the last leadership, and I mean, it's documented as to what would have taken place. And so I've become more reasonable, more responsible. We would have signed, like I said, and then we were saying that we're going to try to work things out. And so just like every marriage, you're going to have issues. But the true cost of it is trying to work with each other, not just running away at the first sign of trouble, but to try to work things out. And so I'm saying, I'm giving you 30 days to try to work. I'm reached to the point that I feel as if I'm being not heard. And so if the next 30 days you're not going to hear me, if you're not going to try to sit with me and work the issues out, let's come to some reasonable understanding, then it tells me that you care about my issues. They have no meaning to you. And so the biggest asset that you have in any company is the people. This Guardian radio building is nothing without Dwight Strachan. People aren't going to just listen to buzzing sounds. They need to hear someone speaking to them through those mics to make this building be of any value.
Some people would prefer it.
The human resource, that's why they have a human resource department, because that's a resource of the company, the human element. And so when you neglect the human element, it sends a signal to public Bahamas that what else are you neglecting? If you're not prudent in how you treat people, are you prudent in how you're handling the engines or the affairs of the engines or how you upkeep? Because if you're not upkeeping people, are you going to care about an engine that is going to hug you back, that doesn't care back? It has no meaning. It's insured. So if you lose it, you can replace it. But human life, that person is gone. The left behind, they're going to enjoy the spoils.
Right.
Right? Of that insurance. And so what I'm saying to the company is, show love to your number one resource. Respect your number one resource. I am the face and the representative of your number one resource. And so speak with me, engage me. Let me know what's happening, that I can engage your people and let them know what's happening so we can be peace and harmony. But when I have to guess, right, or judge, I may guess or judge incorrectly based on what I'm seeing or reading. That may not be the truth. But if the company tells me the truth, then I could reciprocate that in a way back to the people to keep calm and peace.
Right, yeah. I'm going to take one more call and then we got to wrap things up.
Sure.
Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight, and good morning to your dad.
Yeah,
good morning, ma'am.
I was in and out of my vehicle, so I didn't hear if anyone asked the question whether or not the Wattsilla's generator, were they ever operational at all?
Of course they are. Now it's we're disputing whether what the Prime Minister is saying, whether they, because he said they never worked. But
as a union man, I wanted to know from him whether or not they work, and if they work, were they working well or were they poorly run?
Ma'am, all I know is that they're there. In my common sense, I would think that they would be operational. From what I understand, I have persons that I know that work there, but I've never been on the plant to inspect or to say anything, and so I cannot speak just for speaking's sake without facts or knowledge.
So, caller, I think you missed it earlier when Kyle said that they're not allowed to be.
I was in and out of my vehicle, so I didn't hear that part. So that's why I wanted to find out from him. I wanted to send a shout out to Latre Ramin. I want him to be on alert that Anton's coming for his job, because it seems like Anton is where Cliff Watson used to be. So just sending out a shout out to Latre Ramin.
Or it could be a tag team operation. I don't know if he's necessarily coming for this week. This could be all how they do things. So that's right.
You know, Dwight, even in that vein, you know, we have a lot of cabinet level ministers who would reach out to me and ask for help from the BPL workers. They don't usually, they can go to the CEO or they can go to the chairman or the board members, but they know if they go direct to the worker representative, he can make a call to get things done quicker than a lot of they could. Even sometimes if the company having to pay overtime, I can say, do me a favor, man. Do your boy a favor. And the workers respond, right? And so these are things that the company don't see in terms of what as president. There are persons out there, as far as cabinet officers, you can say, when I call on Kyle, I tell him where the issue is. I tell him what's the problem. He doesn't say, oh, let me try to get the manager or someone. He said, I'm going to try, I'm going to get back to you, I'm going to report to you and give you an update on what the matter is. I help. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
God gave us these offices for one reason, Brother Strachan, and that's to help people.
All right, really quickly, these final questions here. This person's asking, where would you put the problem or cause for all the issues in generating reliable electricity or electrical service here? What percentage of the problem is because of management issues versus employees versus equipment?
I would put it on legacy and changing of policies sometimes when we've been changing like governments. And so someone starts at one point and then when a new administration comes, they have their plan for energy reliance and they go a new direction. So I think it's a legacy issue. I can't pin it on no one person or no one situation.
This is a text. Never worked properly. Boy. Indeed. And so it's everything, right? Never worked properly, and it can't work all at once because the building will collapse. But 5 of them are working right now. They're running right now. Are they running properly? We don't know, but they're running. So it's everything. Everything is everything.
But just speaking from engineering standpoint, you would never want to run maybe all at once. You probably wouldn't want to do that. You'd want to have a backup or a spare in case one goes down. You could maintain that and still have your load available. So that's another way of looking at it, probably.
Oh boy! So you just added something else now to this complicated story.
I'm just saying, but
that makes sense. What you're saying?
Yeah, it does. Because if you put everything out there one time, there could be a fault to knock all out. Then you don't have anything to bring up.
Yeah.
So that's a good idea. Whoever, in my opinion.
My Lord. Okay. You're right. That does make sense. This person says, I agree that BPL should advise as to how their workers' pension is being invested. They should also pay overtime and hazard pay. However, they should be, workers should be contributing to their health insurance, and wages should be tied to performance appraisals and not just a blanket increase just because.
No, they are tied to performance. They are.
Okay. All right. So we got a new month here, beginning tomorrow.
Yes.
So, what should the public expect during this very hot summer?
Well, the public should expect that the company to be reasonable and sit with the union. That's what I would expect. That's what I'm expecting. But sometimes expectation is what leads to disappointment. But I don't want to be disappointed. I want the company to show me that they're willing to sit hand in hand with the union and let's hammer out the issues that the workers have. Like I said, that's the number one resource of the company. We want to make sure they're okay. Let's see what we can work out. Let's be reasonable with one another. I'm willing to be reasonable, but the basic necessities is a must.
Yeah.
Okay? And so I want to be more than willing to be happy. And I think 30 days is a lot of time for change to happen. And so, like I said, I've spoken with the CEO. And I think we can move in a positive direction. I'm willing to move in a positive direction that suits all parties involved, especially the Bahamian persons who are there paying the taxes and paying the bills. I want to make sure that they get the best out of the deal more than anybody.
Okay. All right. Kyle Wilson, you'll keep us posted.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate it.
Pleasure being here this morning.
Kyle Wilson, the president of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union. And, giving us some great insight into what workers are experiencing at BPL.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry I can't speak for the operation of the company. That's what the CEO and those are for. But I can speak to the worker issues.
We'll wait to hear something new from the CEO tomorrow, likely. But thank you. Thank you very much.
My pleasure being here. Thank you for having me, Brother Strachan. And let's look forward to working together and moving this country forward.
Okay. We're going to take a break and be back. This is Morning Glen Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Indulge in an experience that awakens your senses with Nescafe Gold. Premium Arabica coffee beans, carefully selected, roasted to perfection, and finely ground, resulting in a flavor and aroma that captivates the senses. Enticing aroma, smooth taste. Elevate your coffee experience with Nescafe Gold.
There's a new electric vehicle in town, the Jack brand of SUVs, trucks, sedans, and commercial vans, available only at Easy Car Sales, home of the fully electric vehicle. For a powerful, smooth ride at a fraction of the cost to drive, leave the pub behind and hit the road with Jack. Visit easy242.com to see our brand new Jack models and drop into Easy Car Sales for a test drive. It'll have you singing. Hit the road with Jack, and don't you pump gas no more.
Attention all beauty enthusiasts. Perfect Tone, your go-to destination for restorative skincare, is on the move. Famous for flawless results within 30 days, Perfect Tone is relocating to the shops of Southwest Carmichael Road. Now is the time to get the skin you've always dreamed of, removing dark spots, acne, and oily textured skin for good. For more information and updates, follow us on social media or visit our website at ptskincare.com.
Let me ask you a few questions. What's your name?
Pam.
Favorite food?
Steak.
Beer or wine?
Wine.
Is your money safe?
It's under my bed, so I guess so.
Are you serious?
Yeah, why?
Unless your money is in a bank or credit union that's a member of the Deposit Insurance Corporation, there's no guarantee it's safe.
Yeah, but what if something happens to the bank?
Your Bahamian dollar deposits are insured up to $50,000, so you'd still be ahead. Plus, your mattress might catch fire. Then what?
Man, those banks and credit unions are looking good right about now.
Visit the DIC's website at www.dic.bs. Protection for your money, guaranteed with DIC.
Doctors Hospital has reimagined primary care. We have invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. We understand that your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnoses and true personalized treatment begins. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshosp.com.
A lot of folks are wondering, what is the Agrarian Awards? Celebrate the people who produce the food that feeds the country. So September 16th, we're giving out trophies and money to young farmers, backyard farmers, sheep runners, goat herders, pea pickers, onion planters, basically everyone. But we couldn't fit all that on the invite, so we put Agrarian Awards instead. Go to adobahamas.org to find out how to nominate your favorite agrarian. The Agrarian Awards, September 16th.
My business couldn't survive without my credit card machine from Fidelity.
It's fast, convenient, and my clients love it.
My sales increase, and I can track my earnings.
Get your credit card machine from Fidelity today.
Call 356-7764.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It is time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. With Eleuthero's tourism numbers now 23% higher than during the tourism banner year of 2019, a high-level delegation of key aviation and tourism stakeholders participated in an assessment of the island's three main airports. Commenting on the assessment, Director of Aviation and Deputy Director of Tourism, Dr. Kenneth Romer, saying the exercise deficiencies and implement immediate, medium, and long-term improvement strategies. Romer saying in a statement that it's time for less talk and more action. The government has begun plans to design, build, finance, operate, and maintain 14 Family Island airports that will be invested in under a public-private partnership model. According to the statement, throughout the next 2 weeks, Eleuthera airports will undergo maintenance, and explains that the Governor's Harbor Airport will have roof repairs completed, while a new air conditioning system and fans will be installed in the check-in area of the North Eleuthera International Airport, along with additional seating for international and domestic passengers. You can read more about the plans in today's Guardian business section. The F&M call it a VAT holiday on school items for the regular back-to-school shopping season, citing high inflation as a critical reason to help Bahamians with this annual expense. The F&M Shadow Minister for Finance, Kwesi Thompson, releasing a statement yesterday contending that the party is waiting on the VAT holiday announcement, especially with August, the month students head back to school. Now just a day away. Thompson saying that the opposition continues to wait on the announcement and to continue with what the F&M started several years ago with the holiday to eliminate purchases for back-to-school supplies, uniforms, and footwear for a period of time. Thompson says the big spike in the cost of electricity for consumers is another reason to give Bahamians a tax break on the items they need to purchase to make the school year a success for their children. And the Organization for Responsible Governance, or ORG, hailing the thorough review and comprehensive perspective of the Bahamas' investment landscape laid out in the U.S. Department of State's 2023 report. ORG said it celebrates the strengths highlighted by the report and vowed to work with the government and civil society to fix the stated negatives. It said the report highlights the strengths and the areas that demand improvement, providing a roadmap that can guide efforts toward creating a more favorable and conducive business environment. The report exposes the layout of the land in terms of the country's overall investment model. It states that the Bahamas Lack of transparent investment procedures and legislation continues to be problematic, adding that the nation's Corruption Perception Index score has worsened by 7 points since 2012. Org saying that they agree that the assessment of the Bahamas boasts a robust service-based economy, attractive geopolitical location, stable political system, and commendable infrastructure, making the nation an attractive destination. But they celebrate the strengths of recognizing that there needs to be continued commitment to upholding the standards. You can read more in the business section as well. Overseas, a new reactor at a nuclear power plant in Georgia has entered commercial operation, becoming the first new American reactor built from scratch in decades. Georgia Power Company announcing today that Unit 3 at a plant southeast of Augusta has completed testing and is now sending power to the grid reliably. At full output of 1,100 megawatts of electricity, Unit 3 can power 500,000 homes and businesses. Utilities in Georgia, Florida, and Alabama are receiving the electricity. Nuclear power now makes up about 25% of the generation of Georgia Power, the largest unit of Atlanta-based Southern Company. A fourth reactor is also nearing completion at the site, where two earlier reactors have been generating electricity for decades. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission on Friday said radioactive fuel could be loaded into Unit 4, a step expected to take place before the end of September. Unit 4 is scheduled to enter commercial operation by March. The cost $14 billion, but are now on track to cost their owners $31 billion. That doesn't include $3.7 billion that original contractor Westinghouse paid to the owners to walk away from the project. That brings total spending to almost $35 billion. And Europe's economy has grown modestly after months of stagnation, but higher interest rates designed to fight inflation are casting a shadow as they make it more expensive for households and businesses to to borrow, invest, and spend. The 20 countries that use the euro currency and their 346 million people saw 0.3% growth in the April to June period compared with the first 3 months of the year. That's according to the EU statistics agency Eurostat. That's an improvement over zero growth in the first quarter and a slight decline in the fourth quarter of last year, but not by much. Plus, one-time factors and an outsized bump from Ireland made things up. The Eurozone got a boost by 0.5% growth in France and 0.4% in Spain, where lower inflation has helped lift consumer spending power. But the French figure was increased by the delivery of one very large manufactured item, a cruise ship. That statistical quirk flattered French growth, but does little to disguise weak demand for goods in the Eurozone's second largest economy. Europe's largest economy, Germany, struggled in the second quarter, recording zero growth after 2 straight quarters of falling output as it grappled with high energy costs tied to Russia's war in Ukraine. Italy, the number 3 economy, shrank by 0.3%. Closer to home in your Market Watch recapping trading on the BISX from Friday. Your market movers, Commonwealth Bank moving 60,900 shares, closing at $4, up 31 cents. CIBC First Caribbean Bank moving 200, unchanged at $13.15. Consolidated Water down 10 cents, closing at $3.94. Emira Incorporated down 16 cents, closing at $10.10. The BISX All Share Index 625.22, up 42.10. Recapping the week. The local market ended the week with 128,878 shares crossing the exchange, with 23 trades accumulating a value of $577,985. The BISX All-Share Index gained 57.72 points, or 2.248%. Year-to-date, the index is down 19.84 points, or 0.75%. The week's volume and value leader, Commonwealth Bank, moving 85,900 shares in 6 trades for a value of $333,491. That's your Market Watch. And that is your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. And tune in tonight to CFAL Talks right here on Guardian Radio at 6:30 p.m. And we're back here with the final couple of minutes of Morning Blend Business on this Monday morning. Okay, they're gone. Again, want to thank Kyle Wilson for being here with us this morning. All right, so that's going to do it for us today. We're going to be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, have a great day, everybody. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.